All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries 3-0. All right, next we will do item 2, the Malberg Generating Station.
Vice Chair Scott,
Yes.
just for the record, you might want to make note that we have 2 commissioners absent. So when we say a 3-0 vote, what we're meaning is because we don't have the other commissioners here.
As our chief counsel has noted, we have 2 commissioners absent today, so we have 3 of us up here on the dais. So when we say a motion carries 3-0, that is all of us today. Okay, item number 2, please.
Good morning, Commissioner. My name is Anwar Ali. I'm a compliance project manager in the Siting, Transmission, and Environmental Protection Division. With me today is Jerry Babila, Staff Counsel, and Matt Layton, the Engineering Office Manager. Also present today, representing the project owner, Scott Galati and Kyle McCormick. Also on the phone, we have Vicky Lee from South Coast Air Quality Management District. Today, staff is seeking approval for the project owner's request to modify the final commission decision for Malberg Generation Station. Malberg is a 134 megawatt natural gas-fired combined cycle located in the city of Vernon in Los Angeles County. It was certified by the Energy Commission in 2003, and it began commercial operation in 2005. The petition under consideration today would upgrade physical components of the combustion turbine and install new software. However, the operation of the new turbine upgrade require acquiring a new Title V permit from the South Coast, permit conditions from South Coast Air Quality Management District, and modification to the Energy Commission condition certification. This turbine upgrade would increase the efficiency and capacity of the facility. As stated in the staff analysis, in March 2018, the staff management approved replacement of physical components as a maintenance activity because it involved just a replacement of functionally equivalent components. However, this approval dictated that the facility would not operate under enhanced performance capabilities until after the approval of this petition by the Energy Commission. The software installation and the associated commissioning activities occurred in May 2019. Staff management approved this software installation because of 2 things. The timing of the scheduled outage by the project owner, and second, because of the emissions, air quality emissions for the commissioning period would be less than emissions approved for the original commissioning. After careful review of the petition, staff concludes the following. The proposed modification would result in a slight increase in potential air quality emissions. However, the increased emission would not have any significant air quality impacts. Additionally, no additional mitigation would be required for this increased emissions. The increased efficiency of the capacity would result in approximate net increase of 8 megawatts in the power production. The proposed modification would not result in significant impacts on the environment, public health and safety. With the adoption of the new and revised air quality condition certifications, the project will remain in compliance with all applicable rules. The proposed modification to air quality condition certification reflect the combustion turbines upgrades and other modification to ensure consistency between the Air District and the Energy Commission final decision language. Based upon these facts, staff recommends approval of the proposed modification to the final commission decision. I will be available to answer any question you have. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from applicant.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the commission. We have read the staff assessment. We agree with the staff assessment's conclusions and all of the conditions that are being proposed in there. Just a point of clarification, the South Coast has actually issued the final permit, so we won't be coming back for any corrections between as sometimes happens with a petition for amendment. So we ask that you go ahead and approve this petition and make the decision consistent with the South Coast permit. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment in the room on this matter? Okay, public comment on the phone? All right, commissioner discussion, please.
Well, I just wanted to say that I'm in support of this amendment. I appreciate staff's thorough analysis, and if there are no additional questions, I'll move approval of item 2.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries 3-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We will now move on to item number 3, Bruce A. Wilcox, PE, please. I think your mic is not on.
Ah, okay. Thank you. Must have turned it off. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Adrian Ownby. I'm with the Building Standards Office in the Efficiency Division. This item is a technical support contract with Bruce Wilcox for up to $4.5 million over 3 years. The technical support contract will be focused on development and implementation of the California Building Energy Code Compliance software, otherwise known as CBEC. CBEC is used to show compliance with building standards. It's also used by staff and consultants and researchers to evaluate the impact of proposed measures on the energy code. This contract will provide crucial technical support for both the development and implementation of the 2019 and the 2022 CBEC software. And with that, I'd like to request approval of the contract, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
I do not have any blue cards here with me. Do we have public comment in the room? Public comment on the phone? Okay, seeing none. Any commissioner discussion?
No, I'll move this item.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Okay, we will now move on to item number 4, the Office of Planning and Research Strategic Growth Council.
Good morning, Vice Chair and Commissioners. My name is Hillary Anderson. I'm with the Siting, Transmission, and Environmental Protection Division. And here with me today is Tom Gates, our tribal liaison. I'm here requesting your approval for an interagency agreement between the California Energy Commission and the Strategic Growth Council to partner in the implementation of the Tribal Government Challenge Program. The Tribal Government Challenge Program has 2 parts. First is a grant funding opportunity that would enable tribes within California for planning activities related to energy efficiency improvements, renewable energy generation, and climate energy resiliency. A total of $2 million would be allocated to grants through competitive solicitation, with a maximum grant award anticipated at $250,000. Second, the partnership would conduct a competitive solicitation for a statewide gap analysis. The successful bidder would conduct an analysis to discover underlying issues related to California's tribes' abilities to adapt to climate change and issues related to energy access, reliability, and sustainability. The gap analysis would be for up to $250,000. This interagency agreement is for a total amount of $2,350,000, and the Tribal Government Challenge Program would be funded by the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act of 2009, or ARA. Staff recommends approval of this interagency agreement. Thanks for your consideration. I'm here for any questions.
Thank you. I do not have any blue cards up here with me, but any public comment in the room? Oh, I'm sorry. And is there anyone from OPR who would like to speak on this topic? Okay, seeing no. Any public comment on the phone? Also seeing no. Okay, let's turn to commissioner discussion.
All right, so on this one, I do have some additional discussion and comments to make. I'm really excited about this program. It's a tremendous opportunity to help us partner with tribes and help facilitate and learn from some of the really tremendous grassroots potential and energy and desire to make a difference that's coming from California Native American tribes. And we've seen tremendous engagement and interest in energy from a number of the tribal governments that the Energy Commission has worked with over time and talked to at the last Tribal Energy Summit, for example, and had the opportunity to work with in a broad number of ways. I'm also very excited to move this program forward through a partnership with OPR and the Strategic Growth Council because of their tremendous expertise in working with local governments, working on planning issues, working on delivery of programs that, especially through the Strategic Growth Council, that help foster sustainability and planning across a broad range of areas, but that could really benefit from and grow from kind of a greater engagement with tribes that this partnership will allow us to facilitate at OPR as well and Strategic Growth Council as well. So I'm really, I want to thank the Energy Commission staff for working extremely hard to move this forward. It was a multi-divisional team involving, in particular, STEP, division, and efficiency. It drew on some of the tremendous expertise from the ARA days that we have on staff and our knowledge of how to move that money. And really, this program is evidence to me and just shows me some of the benefits of some of the approaches we did take in ARA, which was to, at least for some of that money, put the money out the door in the form of programs that would be loans that would have a repayment stream. And it's the repayment stream from one of those loan programs that is allowing us to do this program. One more comment I'll make. Commissioner McAllister isn't here. He has been, and his office has been, a real partner in moving this program forward. The program is actually modeled after the Local Government Challenge, which used the same funds in a prior year and which had very similar goals aimed at local governments rather than tribal governments. And so he was very interested in being able to use the program design and ideas that they came up with and focus that on tribal governments. And so he's been a tremendous partner in this as well. So those are my comments. I just wanted to see if my colleagues would like to speak on this.
I had some comments as well, and thank you so much, Commissioner Douglas, for your leadership in this space, and to Commissioner McAllister as well with the local government challenge. I've had an opportunity to attend the Tribal Summit and also the meeting that we had here in Sacramento not so long ago. The tribes, I know, are very excited about the planning grants, which is fantastic. As you all know, having equity and making sure that all Californians are part of this clean energy transition is so incredibly important, and we're not just talking the talk, but we're walking the walk in this space. And it's just real exciting to me to see additional energy planning specific to the tribes going forward in this way. And I also appreciate the partnership with OPR and with the Strategic Growth Council, because I think all of our agencies bring strengths, and we'll have an opportunity to really learn from one another. And the sum of the parts is going to be greater than the whole here. So I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, so I only have a month under my belt at the commission, so my remarks are not steeped in the history that my colleagues have in this program. But I was lucky enough to be briefed by staff, and I was just so impressed with the quality of just the attentiveness, I think, to the special issues that we face with tribal governments. And it was just very exciting to hear how the CEC is really helping, not just our work with the tribes, but across the entire set of California state agencies, kind of deepen our understanding about how we work with independent governments. And it takes a lot of careful thinking and understanding of some of the issues that tribes face. So this is something I would just give my wholehearted endorsement for this program.
The motion, please.
Move approval of this item.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 The motion carries 3-0. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, next is item number 5, the Cerritos Community College District.
Good morning, Vice Chair and Commissioners. I'm Tammy Haas, lead over workforce training and development with the Clean Transportation Program, also known as the Alternative and Renewable Fuel and Vehicle Technology Program. Staff is seeking approval for an interagency agreement with Cerritos Community College District for just over $1 million. This agreement will fund electric school bus training for bus operators and maintenance staff. Through Senate Bill 110, the legislature charged the Energy Commission with retrofitting and replacing old diesel school buses in disadvantaged and low-income communities around the state. The Energy Commission is implementing this charge through its school bus replacement program. With the appropriation of $75 million, approximately 200 buses were identified for electric replacement statewide. The transition from diesel to electric bus technology creates a training need for bus operators and maintenance staff in the awarded school districts, county offices of education, and joint power authorities. The contractor will provide electric school bus operator training and technician training to faculty from up to 9 community colleges around the state, who will then facilitate the training of fleet technicians and bus operators employed by all the school districts, etc., who were awarded the electric buses. The delivery of training will be timed with the delivery of the electric buses, which is scheduled for rollout between late 2019 and September 2022. Thank you for your consideration of this item, and I have Janet Malig from the Cerritos Community College District who would like to offer some comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Janet, please come up. Good morning.
Good morning. On behalf of Cerritos College, the California Community College System, we want to say thank you for this opportunity to be part of the workforce development and reductions of emissions and clean fuel technology. We really think that we have a great opportunity, especially in disadvantaged communities, to bring forth a new technology and train the workforce for this. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have any, I don't have any blue cards, but do we have public comment in the room? Public comment on the phone? Seeing none, let's turn to commissioner discussion.
Yeah, I'd like to say a few words about this program. So I think anybody with kids who ride school buses, know that it's important, like the safeguarding of our children's health is the most important thing that we have. It's our greatest legacy. And kids riding diesel school buses, especially long distances, are exposed to harmful pollutants that penetrate deep into the lungs and reduce the longevity of their lives. And that, that's such a profound, horrible thing to consider, that as we're putting our kids on these diesel school buses so that they can go safely to school, they're being exposed to these harmful pollutants. So this program is one of these just, you feel good, brings tears to my eyes in terms of like, this is great for kids' health. And yet, school districts are struggling with basic needs. So how are we foisting this new technology on them without giving them the support that they need to make sure they understand how to charge these vehicles and what it looks like to maintain these vehicles? So I just want to say that I think this program is a great supplement to the investments that we and ARB are making on replacing diesel school buses with clean electric buses. And it's what we're going to need a lot more of in terms of if we want to electrify transportation more broadly. There's a lot of workforce training that has to accompany that. So I just really strongly endorse this investment, and thank you.
Yeah, I might just add, I'm also very excited about this project. Janet, thank you for being here, and Tammy for overseeing this. The enthusiasm and engagement that you bring to the program and making sure that there's great workforce training. We also have our terrific high school programs. I've had a chance to go to about 5 or 6 high schools with Janet and Tammy and really just see this happening on the ground, people getting excited about how to work on electric vehicles and what kind of things do you need to learn. It's just an incredibly important component. So I will ask for a motion, please.
I motion to Support? Move to approve, sorry.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we will now move on to item number 6, the Outreach, Education, and Collaborative Planning for California's Central Valley, GFO 18-603, please.
Good morning, Vice Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Suzan Ejlal Manishan with the Fuels and Transportation Division. Staff is seeking approval of 2 projects that were proposed for funding through our Outreach, Education, and Collaboration in Central Valley Solicitation under the Clean Transportation Program, also known as the Alternative and Renewable Fuels and Vehicle Technology Program. Under this solicitation, we initially anticipated providing up to $1 million for projects that will accelerate the rate of adoption of alternative fuels and advanced technologies in Central Valley. The first agreement is with Fresno Metro Black Chamber Foundation for about $615,000 to support the rapid growth of light-duty electric vehicles in the San Joaquin Valley. This agreement will focus on 3 areas. First, this agreement will expand community-based engagement and marketing of PEV car sharing and ride sharing projects within the valley. These projects target 11 disadvantaged communities in Fresno, Tulare, and Kern counties. Once successful, these projects can be replicated for other communities. Second, this agreement's PEV marketing and education campaign aims to break down stereotypes and false impressions regarding PEVs. It will address the operation of PEVs, the economic benefits of owning a PEV, and the availability of clean vehicle incentives. Third and finally, this agreement will provide hands-on interactions with PEVs as well as training and employment for students as EV ambassadors. Fresno Metro Black Chamber intends to leverage its Central Valley Business Diversity Partnership to incorporate involvement of African American, Latino, and Southeast Asian communities. The next agreement is with Gladstein, Niendros, and Associates for nearly $700,000 to support the deployment of clean, medium, and heavy-duty transportation in the Central Valley. In contrast to the previous agreement, this agreement focuses on outreach to commercial fleets. First, this agreement will provide technical assistance hotlines to answer questions regarding clean transportation incentives, technology, infrastructure, and best practices. Second, the recipient will host workshops and webinars that provide information about clean vehicles and programs, as well as case-specific alternative fuel feasibility, emission reduction calculations, and infrastructure assessments. Third, this agreement will provide one-on-one meetings with fleet operators to address operator-specific questions and barriers to increase their confidence in the technology. Finally, the agreement will include traveling teachers and a teacher training program that will develop, distribute, and implement air quality and clean transportation workshops for K-5 students. Staff is seeking approval of both grant awards for item number 6. I would note that Ms. Tara Lynn Gray from Fresno Metro Black Chamber is here, and also a representative from Gladstein, Niendros, and Associates is on the phone to provide remarks and answer questions. Thank you for your consideration of these items.
Great, thank you. So let us start in the room. Ms. Gray, did you have any comment you'd like to make?
Good morning. My greatest and first comment is thank you very much. As an advocate for disadvantaged communities and the businesses that are growing in those communities, we feel that this move not only accomplishes the objectives of the commission, but goes a very, very long way in supporting equity and grant making, supporting equity in small business development, and equity in job creation. We are thrilled about this award and can't thank you enough for the opportunity.
Thank you. we have any other public comment in the room? Okay, and then I know that we have Mr. Terreri on the phone. Will you open his line, please? Mr. Terreri, we are ready for you.
Well, thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair and the Commission. On behalf of GNA, we'd like to say thank you for the opportunity to submit this proposal and appreciate the opportunity to support commercial fleet operators and particularly small fleet operators in adopting clean transportation solutions across the Central Valley. It's crucial work, and we're very grateful to begin. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comment on the phone? Okay, I'm seeing no, so let's turn to commissioner discussion.
Yeah, I'll start. First, I want to say that both of these proposals, again, are dealing with this issue of fairness and equity as we clean up our transportation system. I want to talk for a second about the first one, which I think is really groundbreaking and also risky. Like we don't know what we're doing. I mean, I don't mean to be critical. I just mean this is new territory, and there are barriers to electrification. There are barriers to, in terms of not everybody can afford to own a vehicle. How do we share these clean vehicles in an effective way, spread the benefits of transportation electrification to all communities? I just want to say thank you to the Fresno Metro Black Chamber Foundation for, being visionary and taking on this very challenging area. I think we need to try new frontiers in this space. We need to take risks. And so I just give kudos to you and your team for being visionary in this space. About the GNA proposal around medium and heavy duty fleet electrification. Again, this is about cleaning up the dirtiest trucks on the road. They're a very small share of our actual vehicles on the road, but they're a big share of diesel particulate matter, a big share of nitrogen oxide emissions that cause smog forming pollution to form and also cause small particles to form. So electrifying and cleaning up our heavy duty fleet is critically important to public health. So both of these proposals, I think, are really strong, and thanks to staff and to our grantees for proposing these projects.
I would just add, it's been really exciting to see this come together. We spent some time thinking through, like, what would we like to do in the Central Valley. It makes sense to do projects like this in the Central Valley because it's one of the areas in the state that is hardest hit by air pollution and others, and also really thinking through what do we need to do to make sure communities across our Central Valley are part of this, again, electric transformation into electric transportation. And so I love that we've got a light duty component, a medium and heavy duty component, and I'm excited to see how these come along. So I will ask for a motion, please.
I'll let Commissioner Monahan make the motion, but I just wanted to pile on here very briefly and say that I was really pleased to see this solicitation targeted at the Central Valley as well. And I think in some ways, similarly to the tribal grants that we just looked at, although they're not the same, it's wherever we have an opportunity to tap into the the people in communities that we want to reach who are organizing and who are looking for solutions and trying to generate local strategies and solutions that will help further all of our goals. It's just exciting to be able to do that. So I'm really pleased to see this.
I'm going to learn from my past mistake. I move to approve. Item 6. Apparently, I'm not learning from my mistake.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we are now on to item number 7, zero emission vehicle and zero emission vehicle infrastructure manufacturing, GFO 18-605.
Good morning, Vice Chair and Commissioners. My name is Larry Rialto. I'm staff with the Fuels and Transportation Division. I'm here to present item number 7. All 3 agreements in this item are funded through the Clean Transportation Program, also known as the Alternative and Renewable Fuel and Vehicle Technology Program. In December of 2018, the Energy Commission released a solicitation for zero-emission vehicle and zero-emission vehicle infrastructure manufacturing. The intent of the solicitation was to develop and expand ZEV supply chains in California. The solicitation offered almost $10 million for two categories of projects. Category A was for projects that manufacture ZEVs and ZEV components. Category B was for projects that manufacture ZEV infrastructure, such as electric vehicle chargers and hydrogen refueling station equipment. Today, staff will present agreements for Category A projects. Transportation Power is proposed for a $1.1 million in funding. The agreement with Transportation Power proposes to upgrade manufacturing capabilities to improve the production of electric powertrains, motor assemblies, and battery packs for heavy-duty all-electric trucks. The project will leverage almost $1.5 million in private investment that will create jobs while increasing the efficiency of their manufacturing operations. Proterra is proposed for a $1.8 million in funding. The agreement with Proterra proposes to install manufacturing equipment to help scale the production of all-electric transit buses at their manufacturing facility in the City of Industry. The project will leverage almost $2 million in private investment that will nearly double production. Zero Motorcycles is proposed for $1.8 million in funding. The agreement with Zero Motorcycles proposes to install manufacturing equipment and implement a series of manufacturing changes over the next 2 model years, including onshoring motor manufacturing in the city of Scotts Valley. The project will leverage almost $2 million in private investment that will increase manufacturing efficiency and reduce production costs. Staff is also recommending approval of staff's determination that each of the 3 projects noted are exempt from CEQA. Staff would note that representatives from each of the companies is present to provide remarks and answer any questions. Thank you in advance for consideration of these items.
Thank you. All right, so I do have some blue cards up here with me. First, I have Antonio Montez, and he'll be followed by Kent Leacock.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Antonio Montez, the Regional Service Manager for Transportation Power, and I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you to the Energy Commission and to express our appreciation for the Commission's continuing support. Our first Commission-funded electric refuse truck will be entering service in days here in the Sacramento area. Since we submitted our grant proposal earlier this year, our estimated demand for our EV drive systems by the year 2022, which is a year following the end of the grant, has increased from 300 per year to more than 1,000. This new grant is a big part of our plans to expand our California manufacturing capacity to meet this demand. Thank you.
Thank you. I have Kent Leacock, followed by Jay Friedland.
Good morning, Vice Chair Scott, Commissioner Douglas, and newly minted Commissioner Moynihan. My name is Kent Leacock, and I'm the Senior Director for Government Relations and Public Policy for Proterra. On behalf of the Proterra team, we would like to thank all of you and the Energy Commission staff for the most recent notice of proposed award for the scaling of zero-emission vehicle manufacturing in California project that will help optimize the production of zero-emission buses at our manufacturing facility in the City of Industry. Proterra is a major California success story. With the strong support from the Energy Commission, we moved our corporate headquarters to California in 2015 and now manufacture our own battery modules and packs at our headquarters in Burlingame. And the Energy Commission also helped make possible building our zero-emission public transit buses here in California at our manufacturing facility in the City of Industry. We greatly appreciate the Commission's initial support and partnership to help establish our manufacturing facilities in California. Our first project working with the commission, helped enable us to sell more than 700 buses to more than 90 fleet operators across 41 states and provinces in the United States and Canada. Having a presence in California was crucial to that success. The buses sold have logged over, built have logged over 8 million service miles and displaced over 40 million pounds of tailpipe emissions, as well as established new opportunities for tech transfer to other heavy-duty sectors, including school buses. Today's project will utilize the lessons learned from operating our existing manufacturing facilities and will improve manufacturing efficiency, productivity, and safety to meet the growing demand for zero-emission buses in California. The project will deploy state-of-the-art equipment and accelerate production, improve quality, safety, lower production costs, and create good living wage jobs within the San Gabriel Valley. Thank you again for the continued partnership to expand zero-emission heavy-duty vehicle manufacturing in California that will help accelerate the deployment of those vehicles as well as increase jobs and economic opportunities for the state. We look forward to executing another successful project together and would love to have, at the completion of this project, have the commissioners come down and see the factory as in its newest form. Thank you.
Thank you. I have Jay Friedland, please.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm on. Good morning, Vice Chair Douglas, Commissioner Scott, and welcome, Commissioner Monahan. I'm here representing, I'm Jay Friedland. I'm here representing Zero Motorcycles today. First, again, we also want to thank you for your continued support of our efforts. And this is a particularly exciting grant for us because, as Commissioner Scott got to see a couple of years ago, one of our goals has been to bring back our motor manufacturing from sort of the disparate global supply chain, but primarily China, and bring it back to the United States. And we're going to be able to do that with this grant. So we're very, very excited about that. And I also want to thank staff for the hard work that they've done in putting this together and the whole importance of the ARF VTP program, because now in its 11th year, it really has allowed companies like ours to grow and manufacture in the state of California. And we're now the second largest manufacturer of electric vehicles in the state of California, of course, behind Tesla. It's also really important because, as Larry was saying, the supply chains, even for we're a relatively small manufacturer still, and the supply chain issues remain a constant challenge, and particularly with the current environment of tariffs and where can you source from where, bringing this manufacturing to California is critical. I also want to just mention that some people ask, well, why are motorcycles important in this whole transportation scheme? And the key thing here is that the fleet of motorcycles that is on the road today in California actually provides 16% more pollution than the fleet of light duty vehicles, of cars. And that's because cars have gotten tremendously clean over time. And ARB is working on this. They're actually going to be proposing regulations next year. But in the meantime, getting zero emission motorcycles is very important, and there are more companies that are coming along that are doing this. So again, we really thank you for your leadership on this, and just really appreciate all of your support. Thanks.
Thank you. Do I have any other public comment in the room? All right, I have one public comment on the phone. It is Mark Harrell from Auto Electric.
Hello there. I appreciate this opportunity to speak. I'm calling from overseas. I hope everyone hears me well. I'm a native Californian living and working in Israel, and since 2013, I've been working with Zero Motorcycles, and that relationship ended most recently after a number of concerns were had been expressed over the past several years regarding their actions, in particular boycott of the Israel market and refusal to honor orders coming from this market, both for consumers, but most specifically for the Israel government and related entities. And in reviewing this and also speaking with dealers and distributors throughout the United States and Europe, we found that Zero Motorcycles is in breach of a number of California laws, corporation codes, franchise investment law, Relations Act, a number of vehicle codes, Section 3000, 11700, 11726, 11713.3, and continuing, not the least of which, as it impacts us, is the California anti-BDS legislation enacted in 2016, AB 2844. We want to urge the staff to further investigate and vet Zero Motorcycle statements, their actions, and most particularly their compliance with California law before providing them such a generous grant. We think that any company receiving this level of funding from the state should be in full compliance with the laws of the state of California.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Let me turn back to staff to ask if we've done the due diligence in that space, please.
Thank you, Vice Chair. With this particular solicitation, we did ramp up due diligence conduct for the applicants. In previous years, there's been a self-certification, some basic business presence verification and certification, but this year we invoked a third-party analysis on some financials and their business presence. And with respect to the specific discussion right now, there was no discovery of anything outstanding, but know that all the applicants were treated equally with respect to increased due diligence on their business and their financial and their market performance.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comment on the phone? Okay, seeing none, let me turn to commissioner discussion, please.
Sure. I'll start. Well, I know I sound like a broken record, but I just want to say that the focus on making sure that California is a leader on advancing zero-emission technologies and ensuring that these technologies then diffuse into the marketplace and Californians directly benefit from the cleaner air and I would say the improvement in actually mobility that these technologies can provide. The first one in terms of refuse haulers, well, I should say refuse haulers, transit buses, and school buses are all vehicles that are used within urban areas, stop and go cycle, where community residents are exposed to harmful pollutants from these vehicles. So investing in technologies that help California advance cleaner vehicles and fuels and benefit all Californians is just really where we should be putting our money with the Clean Transportation Program. On the motorcycle side, I can say I'm a bicycler, and I don't know, anybody who's a bicycler and has biked on roads where there's tons of motorcycles realizes that those pollutants are bad. I actually have to cover my nose every time a motorcycle passes because of all the pollutants that come out. So I think it's a great vehicle to electrify, and it could make a big difference for Californians, including bikers, including people who exercise. So I want to congratulate Larry and the staff for pulling these together. I think that we should be moving forward in making sure that California is a leader on both the technology development and the technology diffusion of zero-emission vehicles and fuels.
I'll just add briefly that I'm also very supportive of this. I, like seeing that for some of these technologies that California has really helped to incubate, that we're seeing obviously a lot of California deployment of the technologies, but some California manufacturing of the technologies as well. And I think we've got a really thriving ecosystem here in terms of people who really understand how to develop very advanced technologies and pull them together, and it's great that we can pull that into production as well.
Yeah, I'd just like to add, thanks for having done the due diligence on these projects. That's really important. Again, I'm excited about these as well. The first round of these types of grants that the commission did a few years ago helped really establish the industry here in California and help really get it going. And so now it's exciting to have kind of this second round of grants as we're working to expand those industries and build on them and make them even stronger and more successful. So I am in support of these grants as well. So let me ask for a motion, please.
I move to approve items 7, A, B, and C.
That's like an A+ motion.
Right? Yeah.
All right, I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
This motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Okay, we will now move on to item number 8, the Rialto Bioenergy Facility, LLC, please.
Good morning, Vice Chair and Commissioners. My name is Hugh Nguyen with the Fuels and Transportation Division. Today, staff is seeking approval of one project, Rialto Bioenergy Facility, LLC. The project was proposed for funding under the Community Scale and Commercial Scale Biofuels Production Solicitation released by the Clean Transportation Program, also known as the Alternative and Renewable Fuels and Vehicle Technology Program. This solicitation provided over $19 million in funding for projects that increase the in-state production of low-carbon biofuels at new or existing production facilities. The agreement with Rialto Bioenergy is for about $3 million to design, build, and commission phase 2 of its biomethane facility in Rialto, California. When fully operational, the upgraded facility will convert food waste and biosolids diverted from landfills into 2.5 million diesel gallon equivalents of renewable natural gas with a carbon intensity of negative 187 grams of CO2 equivalent per megajoule. The fuel will be used in waste collection and transport vehicles operated by Waste Management across the greater Los Angeles metropolitan area. Staff is also recommending approval of the SECO findings and a statement of overriding considerations. Staff has reviewed and considered the lead agency's SECO documents and determined that the proposed project would not result in any new environmental impacts that those already considered by the lead agency. Staff has also determined that the mitigation measures identified will eliminate or mitigate any significant impacts associated with the project to less than significant levels, except for air quality impacts. For air quality impacts, staff has determined that the economic, legal, social, and technological benefits of the project outweigh the significant, unavoidable, and unmitigatable environmental impacts. These benefits include revitalizing an existing non-operational industrial site, creating economic opportunity, and reducing regional greenhouse gas emissions in a high disadvantaged community. For this agreement, staff is seeking your adoption of the SECO findings and approval of the grant award in item 8. Thank you for your consideration. Drs. Andrew Dale for Rialto Bioenergy Facility, LLC, is on the phone to answer any questions you may have.
Great, thank you. I don't have any blue cards. Do we have any public comment in the room? Okay, let's now turn to public comment on the phone with Dr. Dale, please.
Thank you. So we want to thank you, commissioners. We just want to appreciate and say the CEC has funded several other grants for our facility in Rialto. And with this additional grant, we'll be able to expand our RNG capacity about 40%, so up to 120,000 cubic feet a day from 80,000 cubic feet a day, which we are designed at right now. And we really appreciate the funding and staff's input in developing this work and reviewing our project and providing the support for this RNG in the LA Basin South Coast Air District. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment on the phone? Okay, seeing none, let's turn to commissioner discussion, please.
So this is, I think with this facility, I mean, using waste that as a form of fuel in a sustainable way and ensuring that that the vehicles and the fuels are paired, so we have waste management ready to take the renewable natural gas and use it immediately. It's really, I think, a great project in terms of helping reduce emissions right now from the diesel fleet. You know, a conversion from we have the vehicles today for natural gas. On the electric side, we don't have the vehicles yet. And so this is a way in the near term to make sure that California is continuing to make progress in reducing harmful pollution and reducing greenhouse gases, and setting the stage over the longer term for transition to zero emission. So these near zero emission vehicles really are great solutions to help communities today that are bearing the disproportionate impacts of air pollution.
I'll just say I'm strongly supportive of this as well.
May I get a motion?
I move to approve item 8.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank
The
you.
motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Okay, we will now go on to item number 9, which is demonstration scale biofuels production facilities, GFO 18-602, please.
Hello again, Commissioners. Hugh Nguyen with the Fuels and Transportation Division. Items 9A and 9B are for 2 projects proposed for funding through our most recent demonstration scale biofuels production solicitation. This solicitation provided a little over $12 million in funding for projects that would prove an innovative technology or process in biofuels production at a demonstration scale level. The following 2 projects represent the last 2 out of the 5 total projects awarded under this solicitation. The first item is an agreement with Oakland Fuels for nearly $3 million to expand their pilot production plant for dimethyl ether, or DME, in Brawley, California. The project proposes to achieve production of 830,000 diesel gallon equivalents of fuel per year and will utilize renewable methanol converted from wood waste pulp to be processed into DME fuel with an approximate carbon intensity of 21.6 grams of CO2 equivalent per megajoule. The fuel will also be used to further support vehicle testing of DME in heavy-duty trucks. The project will create 11 jobs in an area of high unemployment. In comparison to California's 4% unemployment rate, the Imperial Valley currently has an unemployment rate of 16%. Oakland's dimethyl ether plant was evaluated by the lead agency, the Imperial County Planning and Development Services Department, which adopted an initial study and mitigated negative declaration and conducted additional review for the plant's modifications. Commission staff determined that this project causes no new significant or substantially more severe environmental impacts beyond those already considered and mitigated by the lead agency. The second item is for an agreement with Technicon LLC for about $1 million to demonstrate the hyperphilic anaerobic digestion technology, which is an innovative technology that will convert green waste at the South Area Transfer Station located in Sacramento, California, into renewable natural gas. The traditional anaerobic digestion process typically converts waste in a 28 to 30-day cycle period. This process is innovative as it can convert the waste in a 3 to 5 day cycle period, greatly increasing the amount of fuel produced per year. At full demonstration scale, this facility will produce about 73,000 diesel gallon equivalent of RNG annually with a carbon intensity of negative 120 grams of CO2 equivalent per megajoule. The project will create 2 jobs dedicated to the facility's operations. The project will also include the addition of a RNG refueling station on site. Staff is seeking adoption of the CEQA findings and approval of both grant awards for items 9A and 9B. Thank you for your consideration. Dr. Rebecca Boudreau, President of Oakland Fuels, is here and would like to provide a comment. And George Crandall with Technicon is here and is available to answer any of your any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Please come on up.
Good morning. I'm Rebecca Boudreau, President of Oakland Fuels, and I just want to take this opportunity to thank the California Energy Commission for including us in the notice of proposed awards in January. We appreciate the hard work of the CEC staff in doing the CEQA analysis, and we thank Commissioner Monahan for taking time during a very busy transition period to meet with our team last month and talk about not only this project of renewable DME, the scaling up of our pilot plant at demo phase, but also talking about how DME fits in this pathway to zero emission mobility as the state moves to zero emission vehicles. So I'm here to answer any questions you may have, and thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you. And Dr. Crandall, did you want to say something or just here for questions?
I'm just here available.
Okay, terrific. Do we have any other public comment here in the room? Okay, how about public comment on the phone? Seeing none, let's turn to commissioner discussion.
Yes, let me start. So first off, let me talk a little bit about Oberon. Last month, when I had, I think, a week under my belt, and this proposal came up for discussion, and I needed time to think about it. I didn't have any education around DME, and so I want to just express my gratefulness to Dr. Boudreau and her team for coming and meeting with us. We met on May 22nd and walked through a series of questions. Dr. Boudreau provided this excellent briefing paper on renewable DME. And then this is a case, again, where I think California and Oberon Fuels are taking a risk and really looking for creative, out-of-the-box solutions for our greenhouse gas and air quality problems. And I think that for me, it was really heartening to see how Oberon Fuels is taking a very visionary and ambitious approach and looking for solutions that are, again, available today to deal with the problems that we have today. So it was a real education for me, and I look forward to visiting the facility. I've learned that if you visit the facility in the dead of summer, you get extra points for ambitiousness. So, so I just want to tell my fellow commissioners that this is something that I really heartily endorse, and just want to say that I appreciate that my holding off on this item was unusual. And it did give me a chance to, but it really was helpful for me, and I needed that extra time. So let me talk for a second about Rialto. Again, this is another example where we have an opportunity immediately to well, not immediately, but to improve our biofuel processing timeline, which could be really critical if we're able to reduce the amount of time needed to produce a low-carbon biofuel. So again, we need to invest in solutions that really help us over the long-term scale up and help California be a leader in clean energy production.
Yeah, I will just add, I think that this is really important. I'm glad you had the time to take a look at it. We wanted to support you in getting the information that you need. I think as we transition to cleaner transportation, which we all know is incredibly important in California to meet our greenhouse gas goals and to meet our clean air standards as well. We've got a low carbon fuel standard here in California, and having some in-state production of these low carbon fuels, I think, makes a lot of sense. We have a lot of vehicles that, despite having great zero emission options out there, it's going to take some time to transition the fleet. So putting in cleaner fuels right now, I think, matters, especially to people on the air quality side, right, who are breathing air that's unhealthy right now. So I am supportive of these projects as well. I don't know if Commissioner. Okay, may I have a motion?
I move to approve item 8.
Second.
9.
All right.
By month 3, I'm going to have it all down.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Okay, we will now move on to item number 10, which is renewable energy for agriculture renewable energy for agriculture program GFO 18-401.
All right, well, good morning, Vice Chair and Commissioners. My name is Jeffrey Dodson, and I'm representing the Renewable Energy Division. I work in our incentive office, where we administer incentive programs that support renewable energy projects, including the Renewable Energy for Agriculture Grant Program, known by the acronym REAP. So we're here today to ask for your support to approve 41 proposed grant agreements resulting from our program's first grant funding opportunity, which was released in January of 2019. Here's the slide. So while you're considering this decision, we wanted to just take the opportunity briefly to share a little bit about the program and to recognize some of the key players, both in and outside of the Energy Commission, that were instrumental and that contributed to the success of our program. Not long ago, a $6 million line item in the budget for fiscal year 2017 to 2018 trickled down to our office with a simple mandate: create a grant program that would support the installation of renewable energy development projects in the agriculture sector. Followed by an additional $4 million in the following year's fiscal budget, the program had $10 million, or $9.5 million in available award funding. The funding came from the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, and the program would be part of California Climate Investments, a statewide effort that invests billions across the state of California with a focus on reducing greenhouse gas emissions, strengthening the economy, and protecting public health and the environment, especially in disadvantaged communities and low-income communities. Sorry, here. Can we get a next slide, please? This thing might be out of the battery. All right, well, just give us 1 second here. There we go. So anyway, this presented a unique opportunity for us. There we go. We wanted to stretch our relatively small amount in program funding as far as we could and aim to reach agriculture operations of all sizes. So this caused us to design a streamlined grant application and funding program that was tailored to the agriculture community. The first step involved learning more about the needs of the agriculture community. With help of our colleagues at the Public Advisor's Office, our partners at other state departments, and Karen Mills at the Farm Bureau, we engaged in outreach efforts and workshops in agriculture hotbeds to gather feedback and develop a program that would serve both the needs of the agriculture communities and state goals. We also participated in the Tribal Energy Summit to engage with tribal communities. During this time, we also brainstormed with our internal offices, the Contracts, Grants, and Loans Office, our legal office, and the accounting office, to identify efficiencies that could be made to the traditional grant application process, which would be necessary to encourage a busy farmer from a small family-owned operation in San Joaquin County to apply for a small $25,000 grant to install a small solar PV system that would power their agriculture pump, to highlight the example of one of our awardees presented here today. So what came out of this process was a set of program guidelines that was adopted by the Commission in late 2018, which set the stage for our first grant funding opportunity, which we released earlier this year in January. The program offered the ability to fund additional equipment that would be powered by this newly installed renewable energy generation technology. This includes EV charging, battery storage, and a new electric pump, as long as it replaces the diesel pump. After the release of our grant funding opportunity in January, we hosted multiple application workshops throughout the state, providing direct assistance to grantees in the grant application process. Next slide, please. Following the application deadline, we received 98 applications, collectively requesting nearly $20 million in grant awards and offering over $11 million in optional match funding. We were significantly oversubscribed and scored the applications to identify the most competitive project proposals to award funding to. Our Notice of Proposed Award, which was released in April, awarded all of the available $9.5 million in funding across 45 project proposals. Of the 45 proposed awardees, 30 of them included optional match funding for a combined total of nearly $5.9 million, which represents a total project investment across all projects of over $15 million. Our proposed awardees are spread across 18 counties throughout the state. As you can see on the slide here, awarded grants were strongest in agriculture-rich communities, with awards distributed to 8 out of the 10 biggest agriculture-producing counties. The majority of our project proposals are solar PV systems installed on-site on land that grows a wide variety of produce and feed crops, with a few that serve educational purposes and one that supports livestock operations. The average grant award amount was $211,000, with many other grant awards on both ends of the allowable range. These projects will go a long way in serving many purposes. All of these projects include the installation of on-site solar PV, and 2/3 of them include additional equipment such as electric vehicle charging, battery storage, or diesel pump replacement with a new electric pump. projects that replace a diesel pump for an electric pump to reduce local air criteria pollutants in disadvantaged communities, and our projects that are serving educational institutions in low-income areas make up a mix of some of the projects that are recognized for providing direct benefits to residents of a disadvantaged or low-income community, one of the focuses of California climate investments. Many of these projects are installing solar PV to serve an existing electric pump, some of which were obtained through the SWEEP program at the California Department of Food and Agriculture. All of these projects help reduce greenhouse gas emissions in the agriculture sector, which currently represent 8% of all statewide greenhouse gas reduction emissions. Also important is the fact that we were able to spread our awards across a diverse group of applicants. Our highest scoring applicant is a female and minority-owned organic vegetable farm requesting a modest grant of $76,000. We also received tremendous help from our staff in the siting and legal offices in preparing CEQA determinations. Next slide, please. Anyway, staff recommends the approval of all 41 grant application packages on today's agenda, offering the opportunity to proceed with a grant agreement execution and project development consistent with the program's solicitation requirements. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I am available for your questions.
Thank you. I have one blue card here, which is Mark Gottschalk. Please come on up.
Thank you very much, Commissioners. My name is Mark Gottschalk. I'm Chief Strategy Officer of D.D. Danner, LLC. I wanted to thank the Energy Commission for granting this award to Joseph Gallo Farms. For the benefit of those in the room and on the phone, the award for this project, called Off-Grid Solar Energy Project Accelerating Ag EV Adoption, is the first of the kind use of ground mount PV solar generated electricity to power an EV performing farm operations. In this case, the mowing and spraying of the almond groves at Joseph Gallo Farms. One of the unique features of the project is the use of one Danner mobile power station as with 279 kilowatt hours of onboard energy storage as the unit to be storing the PV electricity generated by the ground mount solar system during the day, and then using that energy to power another Danner mobile power station that will have 259 kilowatt hours of energy on board that will also have mowing and spraying attachments that will go out in the fields daily to do the mowing and spraying operations. The mobile power station is the world's first heavy-duty EV platform performing any kind of off-road maintenance using commonly available attachments from Deere, Caterpillar, and Bobcat, while also having up to 500 kilowatt hours of energy storage on board to support disaster response scenarios and provide backup power. We look forward to collaborating with the California Energy Commission on this very exciting project. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comment in the room? All right, any public comment on the phone? Okay, seeing none, let us turn to commissioner discussion.
All right, well, thank you very much, and I appreciate the speaker from Gallo Farms, and I've worked with staff over time as they've developed and rolled out this program, because I think it's a fantastic program. I think it's a really tremendous way of supporting adoption of clean energy technologies that will also help farmers save money and will also clean the air throughout many rural areas and agricultural areas of the state. There's a tremendous amount of growth potential here as farmers see their neighbors install this equipment and see them using EV farm equipment and having storage and the electric water pumps and just the ability of getting some additional deployment out, because of course there already is today a significant amount in many areas, but getting additional deployment out and just having more and more adoption of these technologies. You know, we really want to see the different and varied and diverse sectors of the state move forward and use these technologies in ways that make the most sense to them. And so I'm really excited about this program, I also want to thank the staff because, you know, this was a new area for us. We, as was mentioned in the presentation, had to come up with an approach that would allow for a competitive process because we would be oversubscribed, but that would not be so onerous that a family farmer who was busy doing, you know, farming would just potentially find it too overwhelming or too intimidating to apply, or maybe be concerned that it was just not for them. And we really wanted to have a program that could be very accessible. And so I'm pleased with the results. I also do want to thank the staff in the STEP division for the support they provided on the CEQA side, because in terms of being able to get these awards to this meeting, it was essential that they step up and do that, and they did. So those are my comments. I'll go ahead and move this item.
Oh, can I make some comments?
Of course.
I also wanted to just comment on this item. I was really excited to get the briefing because this is the first one where you have 41, I think, maybe the first one where you have 41 items all grouped together, and just to get, you know, a deeper flavor of the different items. And it really is impressive, I think, what you and your team have done in this space. Because the level of outreach that we needed to do, again, to folks that you're saying are very busy, who probably aren't used to engaging with the Energy Commission or applying for our grants and that kind of thing, and the work that we did with Karen Mills and her team as well to just reach out to people that will be interested in applying. And we can see with 98 grants and being 98 applicants and being oversubscribed, it's really great. I think it's an exciting set of projects that we've put together, and hearing a little bit more about the project at Gallo, where we're going to combine solar charging with electric vehicle. I mean, that really is the zero emission cycle that we're all looking for, and a lot of these projects are innovative and creative and groundbreaking in that way. And I think these also kind of pick up on our theme. It kind of seems to be the theme of the day here, of making sure all communities across California are engaged and involved as we make this transition towards cleaner energy. And of course, we're doing that again because of climate change and clean air and other very important reasons. So we have a motion. May I get a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries 3-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have item number 11, which is the Food Production Investment Program.
All right. Good morning, Vice Chair and Commissioners. My name is Kevin Oy with the Energy Research and Development Division. Staff is seeking approval for 5 out of 8 projects from the latest Food Production Investment Program competitive grant solicitation. The remaining 3 projects will be presented at a later business meeting. The purpose of the Food Production Investment Program is to fund drop-in and emerging technologies at California food processing facilities which reduce energy use and greenhouse gas emissions. Funding for this program is provided through the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund and administered through California Climate Investments, a statewide initiative which puts cap-and-trade dollars to work. The first project is with Rich Products Corporation, who operate an industrial bakery in Torrance. Conventional refrigeration systems use hydrofluorocarbon refrigerants, which have a global warming potential of approximately 4,000 times the potency of carbon dioxide. This project will replace the existing conventional refrigeration system with a high-efficiency, low global warming potential alternative. The system will use transcritical carbon dioxide refrigerant and will significantly reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The next project is with Yosemite Foods, a meat processing facility in Stockton. This project will incorporate a heat recovery system into an existing, large-scale, transcritical carbon dioxide refrigeration system. Waste heat produced by the refrigeration system will be recycled for use in a Singer system and will significantly reduce natural gas use. The third project is with Pacific Coast Producers, a tomato processor in Woodland. This project will install a high-efficiency evaporator system which evaporates water from tomato juice to produce products like tomato paste. In addition, steam turbines will replace pressure reduction valves to produce electricity from otherwise wasted energy as steam pressure is dropped. These measures will result in significantly reduced greenhouse gas emissions. The fourth project is with Initiative Foods, a baby food producer in Sanger. The facility will overhaul its energy system by installing high-efficiency equipment such as boilers, chillers, and refrigeration systems, which are used to process fruit and vegetables into final products. These efficiency measures will result in significantly reduced greenhouse gas emissions. And finally, the last project is with E&J Gallo Winery, a wine producer in Livingston. This project will integrate high-efficiency variable frequency drive compressors into an existing refrigeration system and will result in significantly reduced electric use. Staff recommends approval of these 5 awards and are available if you have any questions. Also, Michael Blaskauer from E&J Gallo Winery is present if you have questions for him.
Thank you. Mr. Glassgower, did you want to make any remarks? No comments. Okay. Are there any, I don't have any blue cards here with me. Are there any public comments in the room? Any public comments on the phone? Okay, seeing none, we will turn to our commissioner discussion. I'm very excited about our food production investment program. I think there's a lot of excitement today. But this is, again, we have done, I think, really good outreach in this space. This is another set of folks that are not necessarily used to engaging with the Energy Commission on energy-related topics. So I appreciate the great work that was done in this space. I want to make sure the WebEx is still up. And we just not have the screen, but the WebEx is still going? Hold on just a second. If you are listening, we're pausing just to make sure we're still connected. We're good? Okay, all right, we're good. Again, I think the outreach that we did in this space to bring in a set of folks that are maybe not necessarily used to working with the Energy Commission to put in place technologies that will help reduce energy use and reduce greenhouse gases is really exciting. I'm always, for these kinds of projects, I really just want to go see them when they're installed and see how they're working. So I'm excited for them to get going. They're interesting and they're innovative. And the other thing that was important in this space, similar to the last set of projects, is doing the outreach and the solicitations in a time frame that works for folks that are on an agricultural cycle, and then being able to get these technologies in, not in the midst of the height of food processing, but when those times slow down and then they have some time to put this in. So kind of matching up what we do with the cycles, I think, is also something the team did well here. Any other commissioner comment?
Well, just briefly, because California is such an agricultural state and because of the intensive nature of most food processing, it's a really clear opportunity area. And, we have, this builds on, and we have had some good solicitations aimed at food processing. And it's, in fact, we have a few, plaques and so on upstairs, some of which have some age to them around, was it Sunkissed, or there were a couple programs or projects like this. But I think it's exciting. I think we need to keep doing this because it's a way of fostering and supporting a lot of the really important economic activities that occur in the state and helping them be more sustainable and helping them meet California's climate goals.
Can I get a motion?
May I? I move to approve this item.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries 3-0. Thank you. We will now go on to item number 12, which is the production scale-up for clean energy technologies, GFO 18-302, Addendum 1.
Good morning. Good morning, Vice Chair and Commissioners. My name is Benson Gilbert, and I'm from the Energy Research and Development Division. Today, I'm requesting approval for 10 grant agreements that will help clean energy entrepreneurs successfully advance their technology to the pilot production stage at California manufacturing facilities. Over the past 5 years, the Market Facilitation Office has been systematically putting programs into place to create an innovation pipeline for clean energy entrepreneurs. The program started with small grants linking entrepreneurs with testing facilities, then added follow-on funding for successful early stage technologies, and now introduces RAMP. Startup companies typically lack the practical manufacturing experience to successfully move their technology into production. Moving a technology into production requires a different set of considerations than an initial technology development. The intent of RAMP is to help entrepreneurs overcome these challenges. The first group of RAMP projects involves energy efficiency technologies. Magnet cooling systems operate without the use of global warming potential refrigerants and can operate with up to 50% energy savings compared to traditional vapor compression systems. Unfortunately, market adoption has been limited due to low performance and high cost commercially available magnetocaloric materials. The General Engineering and Research Project will lead to providing a selection of high performance and low cost commercially available magnetocaloric materials. The Glint Photonics project features a high efficiency directional lighting system that improves the effectiveness of lighting a given area with the potential energy savings up to 50% that is gained by improving light beam profiles, the ability to easily and precisely move light where it needs to be, and the potential reduction for the number of lights in a given area. The TRO project features a window-mounted heating and cooling system that boasts performance greater than most mini-split heating and cooling systems at a much lower cost and without having to be installed through a wall. The low noise, high efficiency, and performance of TRO's system is due to a unique polymer heat exchanger that allows the use of low global warming potential refrigerants. Customers will be able to place TRO's system on a windowsill, plug it in, and enjoy their view through a closed window without professional installation costs. The second group of RAMP projects involves renewable energy generation. The current cost of solar silicon wafers accounts for about up to 40% of the cost of a fully assembled solar panel. The Halo Industries project uses lasers to produce high quality solar silicon wafers in a way that is more energy efficient and produces less waste than current manufacturing methods at half the cost. This leads to a 20% or greater reduction in the utility solar levelized cost of electricity. The Spark Thermionics project features a very efficient thermionic energy converter that generates electricity directly from heat. When added to a concentrated solar power plant, the thermionic energy converter would increase the plant's total power output by up to about 90%. By converting the unused heat into electricity, which in turn could reduce the levelized cost of electricity to as low as 5.6 cents per kilowatt hour. The third group of RAMP projects involves energy storage technologies. The Primus Power project features a zinc bromide flow battery that uses a non-flammable electrolyte, does not require an ion exchange membrane, and has a large capacity that can provide output of 25 kilowatts for 5 hours. This high capacity, combined with a lifespan of over 20 years, makes this battery well suited to utility scale energy storage applications such as solar and wind integration. The Caban Systems project features a fire-resistant, ruggedized energy storage system that has a remote access capable power management and control system and is plug-and-play capable and can operate with batteries from different manufacturers. Caban System can keep or bring critical infrastructure and telecommunication systems under environmental distress back online and can be used as a pop-up energy source to be quickly deployed to disaster areas to restore electricity for lights, heating, cooling, and water. The remaining 3 energy storage technology projects support 2 specific battery components that will allow the next generation of lithium batteries to be developed and commercialized. The South 8 Technologies project features a liquefied gas electrolyte and electrolyte injection process that provides about 60% higher energy densities than conventional lithium-ion batteries and allows for the use of less expensive materials than cobalt. South 8's innovative design allows a battery to fail safely and without the potential for catastrophic failures that lead to fire. The Cuberg project features a non-flammable liquid electrolyte that enables batteries to operate with about 50% higher energy densities than conventional lithium-ion batteries. The Sepion Technologies project features a separator that only allows lithium ions to pass through, while preventing metals from the cathode that dissolve over time into the electrolyte to pass through the separator, which compromises the health of a battery and can lead to catastrophic failures and fire. The separator also increases the energy density and useful life of batteries and allows batteries to use materials less expensive than cobalt. That concludes my presentation today. Thank you for your consideration, and I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. I do have some blue cards on this one. We will start with Elon Liss, followed by Vince Romanin.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gilbert, for your presentation, and good morning, members of the Commission, and thanks for the opportunity to comment. My name is Ian Liss, and I'm the designated administrator and project manager for the Cuberg Award 12C Group 3, and Cuberg is pleased to be able to continue to partner with the California Energy Commission in furtherance of our state's energy future. Production scale-up of our battery cell technology can play a key role in meeting and exceeding California's clean energy goals, specifically through greater safety and much more energy by weight and volume over existing lithium-ion cells. Our lithium metal battery cells can lead to faster and broader adoption of electric vehicle technology to more Californians, helping our state realize our goal of 5 million zero-emission vehicles by 2030. So thank you for your consideration, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. I have Vince Romanin, followed by Alexandra Rush.
Good morning. Thank you, Vice Chair and Commissioners, and thanks for your consideration on this grant. TRO's mission is to enable people to have access to comfortable homes and comfortable buildings without harmful implications on the environment. We're doing this because we recognize building heating, cooling, and air quality as a public health issue. But climate change is also a public health issue, and today these two things are at odds because building heating and cooling emits about 20% of all of our global greenhouse gases. Our goal is to increase access to these important energy services, increase user comfort while providing a path to complete decarbonization of our buildings. This industry is really resistant to innovation, and so it's critical to have support of groups like CEC, and we're really excited to continue working with you. And so on behalf of the entire TRO team, I just want to say again, thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. I have Alexandra Rush, followed by Paul Kreiner.
Good morning, Vice Chair Scott and Commissioners. My name is Alexandra Rush. I am the CEO, founder of Gavan Systems. And as an early member of the Proterra engineering team, I'm always very excited and proud to see the Proterra team in here. On behalf of the entire Gavan team, we would like to thank the California Energy Commission and its staff for the most recent notice of proposed award for the prototype to production modular battery for platform projects for California critical infrastructure. The proposed project will scale up our emerging best-in-class energy storage prototype and accelerate the production of the needed energy storage solutions to provide reliable distributed energy sources that will add a new dimension of safety, savings, and emission reductions for the investor-owned utility ratepayers. Californians are increasingly vulnerable to power outages due to the electrical equipment and infrastructure failures, brownouts, earthquakes, wildfires, and severe landstorms and landslides. Wildfire-related power outages and communication failures have taken dozens of lives, emphasizing the immediate need to accelerate the production and deployment of commercially scalable and reliable platforms for life-saving, fossil fuel-free power for critical infrastructure. The proposed project will help scale up manufacturing of a dedicated battery designed for resiliency and withstand extreme conditions. In combination with on-site power generation, the equipment can bring a cell tower under environmental distress back online. In the case of public safety, power shutoffs, the platform can provide telecommunication systems and critical infrastructure for hours or days, restoring communications immediately. We greatly appreciate the partnership with the California Energy Commission to grow energy storage manufacturing in California, and that will provide direct benefits to IOU ratepayers, including greater reliability, increasing safety, economic development and jobs, environmental benefits, and lower costs. We look forward to working together to successfully implement the proposed projects. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I have Paul Kreiner.
All right. Thank you, Benson, for the introduction, and thank you, Vice Chair and Commissioners, for your time this morning. My name is Paul Kreiner. I'm the VP of Products at Primus Power, where I've led mechanical engineering efforts for almost 9 years now. I just wanted to take a moment to thank the California Energy Commission for supporting clean energy technology like ours, and with the production scale-up grant in particular, helping companies like Primus Power overcome what is often the most challenging hurdle in the commercialization of a promising technology, namely the transition from prototype manufacturing to initial production. This transition requires significant investment to overcome new design and supply challenges and is often the point at which promising companies have stumbled. As you heard, at Primus we've developed a zinc bromide flow battery unlike any other battery technology in the market. Zinc and bromine are two of the lowest cost and most abundant battery chemical elements on the planet. And on this extremely low-cost platform, we've invented a radically simplified flow battery system that we believe will be best in class in longevity, safety, recyclability, and cost, specifically for large-scale solar and wind plus storage applications. And now, after 10 years of R&D and product development, we've proven this technology at full scale both in-house and in the field. And we're proud to have done that right here in California. However, the systems we've built so far are prototypes built in relatively small quantities. So to scale up and realize our vision of low-cost, safe, and long-lasting energy storage, and thereby accelerate the transition to a 100% renewable grid here in California and beyond, Primus needs the support of agencies like the California Energy Commission, who are committed to a sustainable future. And for that, we are extremely grateful. So thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any other blue cards. Any other public comment in the room? All right, any public comment on the phone? Okay, so we'll transition to commissioner discussion. I've been working on research now for about 2 months and just digging in, learning all the details in a much more robust way than previously. And I have to say the careful deliberation that I think has gone into tailoring solicitation so that we're meeting specific needs along the innovation pipeline is really quite excellent to see. And so I appreciate kind of the ramp getting from people have put 1 or 2 together, trying to figure out how do you get into that production scale space. And I think we have a really nice and intriguing set of projects here before us. So if there are no other comments, I might ask for a motion or comments.
No, I'll just move this item.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries 12-0. I'm sorry, 3-0. That was item 12. Thank you. All right, moving on to item, wait a second. So that was 12. Okay, so moving on to item number 13, which is the Regents of the University of California on behalf of the Berkeley campus, please.
Good morning, Vice Chair Scott and Commissioners. My name is James Friedrich with the Energy Research and Development Division. Seated beside me is Dr. Sasha Von Meyer from UC Berkeley, and Alex McBride from the City of Oakland is on the phone. I'm here requesting approval of a $5 million grant agreement with the University of California, Berkeley for the demonstration of an advanced energy community in the City of Oakland, herein referred to as the Oakland Eco Block. In 2016, the Energy Commission issued a solicitation titled, quote, "The Epic Challenge, Accelerating the Deployment of Advanced Energy Communities," end quote. This is a two-phase solicitation that challenged multidisciplinary project teams to partner with local governments and develop innovative and replicable approaches for accelerating the deployment of advanced energy communities. Phase 1 of the competition focused on the planning and design, while this Phase 2 grant focuses on the build-out and deployment. The Oakland Eco Block is led by a team headed by UC Berkeley's Institute for Energy and Environment, with key support from the City of Oakland and Lawrence Berkeley Lab. This project is a first-of-its-kind deployment of an advanced energy community that retrofits an existing residential city block consisting of 22 buildings with 44 units. It is innovative in several key ways. It combines deep energy efficiency retrofits at the block scale with a DC microgrid that integrates rooftop solar PV, flywheel energy storage, and EV charging stations. DC microgrids have the potential for higher reliability and lower capital costs due to fewer, simpler power electronic components, higher power system efficiency due to fewer power conversions, and avoidance of costly and complicated transfer switch and protection equipment necessary in AC-coupled microgrids. A smart microgrid control and management software system will optimize supply and demand at the block scale while encouraging behavioral demand response. The Eco Block also includes shared EVs for local trips and water efficiency and reuse opportunities. Advanced energy communities enable local governments like the City of Oakland to take a leadership role in supporting our state's energy transition and decarbonization goals. Staff believe the Oakland Eco Block will demonstrate an integrated community-scale approach to energy retrofitting that can be more efficient and cost-effective than the individual house scale to achieve emissions reductions in existing buildings. Staff would also like to acknowledge 2 letters submitted this morning in the business meeting docket, signed by several members of the proposed Eco Block community site. Community members voiced concern about the nature of communication and outreach around the project and voiced uncertainty about the risks and responsibilities that participating in the project would entail. Staff respect these concerns and want to emphasize how important it is that the voice of community members is heard. Staff also want to emphasize that the participation in this project is purely voluntary. The project is not intended to be nor dependent on 100% participation. The project can still be technically and financially feasible with less than 100% participation, and that's by design. Staff believe that perhaps the lag in timing between the Phase 1 and Phase 2 grant perhaps allowed misperceptions to grow about the project, and Phase 2, with now a concrete proposal and design, will give us the opportunity to have a fresh start in the community. There have been changes to the Phase 2 project team focused on stronger community engagement, including a new communications facilitator who's in a stronger position to conduct outreach. This is something that staff will pay close attention to. Staff thanks you for your consideration of this agreement. Myself, as well as Dr. Von Meyer, are available to answer any questions you may have. And Dr. Von Meyer and Ms. McBride from the City of Oakland would like to say a few words in support of the project.
Thank you. Dr. Van Meyer, please.
Thank you very much. I'm Sasha Von Meyer from UC Berkeley, and it's my pleasure to speak here on behalf of this exciting project. This project involves real innovation at the technical level in terms of scaling technologies, making them cost effective at the level of a city block, and bringing what are presently considered luxury items, such as rooftop solar with energy storage that allows you to ride through utility power outages, bringing those technologies within economic reach of all citizens. This Oakland Eco Block pilot project is really intended to demonstrate something that is scalable and that is robust and that can be rolled out in many different places. What's most unique about it is that it's a retrofit, not a greenfield construction. And that is also exactly what makes it hard. I'm going to focus on the greatest difficulties, which are in the realm of social science, not the technology. The technical parts of it are easier to figure out and to optimize because we can be algorithmic about it. The social challenges are there because we're not starting like many microgrids with a single entity that owns and operates a microgrid. That's been done, we've seen it. We're not starting with an intentional community that gets together and says, how can we build the most effective microgrid together? We're starting with a typical block that, like any block, has its history and its tensions. Just like any block that we live on, there are long-standing issues between and among neighbors that we couldn't possibly know before we walked into it. But it's addressing those challenges very directly and transparently that I think will make this project scalable. So we are aware that there's great diversity on this block, diversity of opinion. Also, as everyone who's been to Oakland knows, there's been a lot of development going on, and people are sensitive to the fact that money is coming in, new money is coming in, and development is changing the flavor of many corners of the city neighborhood. So that's a context. As it was stated, it's very important that for this project to be scalable, it's not required to have 100% buy-in. In fact, with the funding we have, we can't afford right now to do 100% of the block, but to demonstrate the technological advantages, we believe that can be done with about 1/3 of the block of roughly 30 homes. And in fact, we're aiming for 1/2, more than that number of the neighborhood residents and property owners are in support. What is also important to me personally is that we preserve an option for people to opt in later. Once they see what this is really about. It's been 4 years since these owners and residents were first contacted. And we were really developing this idea with them during phase 1 as we went. And there's been a lot of time, particularly lagging between phase 1 and phase 2, of people basically filling in the gaps of what they weren't sure about how this was going to work. We haven't been able to present them yet with a contract to opt in. So there's been, I think, a bit of speculation. The key piece of it is that it's absolutely voluntary, that property owners do not lose any autonomy over their home, and that hopefully when we start with the actual physical construction, there will be real evidence, and we now have a concrete basis for a proposal for an offering that homeowners and residents can then see and make their decision on. As was also mentioned, we have Ms. Kathy Leonard on board, who's the founder of the Oakland Neighborhoods for Equity, a board member of the Golden Gate Community Association, and she's a professional who will now be leading the outreach and communications. And one of the first steps in phase 2 really will be a very open and public meeting with the community so that we're completely transparent and everybody knows what to expect. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any blue cards here in the room. Is there any other public comment in the room? Okay, I do have a series of folks on the phone. The first is Alexandria McBride from the City of Oakland.
Chief Resilience Officer for the City of Oakland, and I appreciate the opportunity to present today. We're really excited for Oakland to be the home of the nation's first Eco Block and are in support of the item being presented. The Eco Block has been a cornerstone of our Resilient Oakland strategy since 2016 and has seen in actions like our council recently declaring a climate emergency back in October. We in Oakland certainly understand the importance and the urgency of climate change and seek comprehensive solutions like Eco Block to move the dial. Our goal, as you've heard from Sasha and James, our goal is to have a successful Eco Block model that can scale to other parts of the city. And we also want to maintain our values of transparency, impact, and equity. One of the early lessons we've learned, as also you've heard just now, is that this model is not only about technical innovation, but also, and even more importantly, about the social community building component that has to take place to make the project be successful. I'm seeing this, and we in the city are seeing this as an opportunity to be more thoughtful and more intentional and engaging in inclusive community engagement for this block. And we've already been having conversations with the Eco Block project team about how the city can better support that community engagement work. And I'm really confident that UC Berkeley's Institute for Energy and Environment, with Sasha's leadership, will be a strong partner in this. So again, just thank you for your time and consideration. I'm also happy to answer any other questions.
Thank you. I have next Kathy Leonard.
Hello, can people hear me?
Hi, yes we can. Please go ahead.
Oh, great. Okay, thank you. My name is Kathy Leonard. I'm an Oakland native, and I live in the Santa Fe neighborhood, which is just just east of the Golden Gate neighborhood. I'm on the board of directors of the Golden Gate Community Association, which has been in Oakland and have been a nonprofit for the last 30 years, and we've been fighting for change in and around the Golden Gate neighborhood. Most recently, in November, after 4 years of working in the Golden Gate, the Santa Fe neighborhood where I live, Longfellow, we just got a dedicated city planner who's going to help us prepare a blueprint for other Oakland neighborhoods who want to be involved in change in their neighborhoods. So right now we've got repaving schedules going on a block that wasn't even on the paving scale at all. We've just done a lot of things in the neighborhood. Also, we were instrumental in helping to reopen our neighborhood schools, so we're still in the process of doing that. Just a lot of things going on in the community. I'm particularly excited about this project, and I wish it was in my neighborhood, is the changes that I see in our city. There's a lot of kids with asthma because of climate change being located next to industry. And in fact, maybe Alexandra would like to talk about this a little bit more, but the city of Oakland actually has a contract with a group in Oakland, and they're going around to the different 7 districts and actually getting neighbors and neighborhoods involved in climate change. One is happening in my neighborhood in a couple of weeks. So so this sort of ties all in with the Eco Block. So my experience with community outreach is extensive. I've been doing community outreach for the last 20, 30 years. I've been able to successfully bring change about in our neighborhood. Just to give you an example, there's a Trans Bay bus that comes through our neighborhood, which predated or came after the trains which ran through North Oakland and Berkeley. And AC Transit had decided that they were going to move that train that bus from our neighborhood. And so I was able to rally people from the 3 affected North Oakland neighborhoods, South Berkeley, and get 700 signatures on a petition, which we presented to AC Transit, our council members, and we were able to successfully block that the removal of that bus, which was highly we needed to get to San Francisco. It was a quick way to get there The alternative would have been to take 3 buses to get to San Francisco. So those are just one example of some of the outreach I've done. I'm looking forward to working on this project. I know a couple of people on the block already who have expressed a verbal commitment to be involved in the Eco Block. I agree that people do need more information, and now that I'm on board, I will be walking that block, doing door-to-door outreach, having community meetings, and I look forward to being a partner in this endeavor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, we have Mary Shish Ler. Are you there? Your line is open.
Yeah, I'm trying to talk. Am I getting through?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. I have a number of things running through my mind. I live on Fremont Street, and my home is one of the homes that will be affected by this Eco Block. I have been absolutely shocked and appalled at the lack of transparency of this project. When Dr. Von Meyer spoke today, that is the most comprehensive and complete and intelligent and clear description of what is going to happen in my block that I have heard in all the years that this has been going on. I am glad to hear that there's awareness that there is a social problem here. There is. And I really don't know now what my feelings are about it, because I don't feel I have been given enough information to even tell you as a homeowner what I really want done about this. On one hand, it sounds very positive. On the other hand, there has been absolutely no information about the impact upon the value of my home or the quality of my life. And I think these are important issues. My first thought was that I was going to beg you to vote this down. Absolutely, totally beg you. That my husband and I are close to retirement and we can't afford to lose the value of our home due to the manner in which this was handled. But I have gained some confidence in the project listening to Dr. Von Meyer speak. She sounds like she's professional. She sounds competent. It sounds like she's aware of the issues. And right now, what I would like to have happen is to have the vote kicked down the block until there has been a full, complete, transparent meeting with the entire community. Because we have had so much misinformation and we have been left so far out of the loop that I don't feel we can possibly give you a well-informed answer on how we would like to participate in this project. And I want to be as fair as I can to those who have made all the effort to make this to go through. I can't remember the name of the people who just spoke, but I felt they came across to me as passionate, as caring, and I would like to talk to them, and I would like to talk to them before I'm asked to make up my mind. And I just plead with you to kind of give the neighborhood a little bit more time when we actually get detailed information about what this would mean to us. You might be able to get a better sense of social cohesion were you to correct the mistakes of the past. And I think it would make those of us who have been so excluded and are so scared and so worried feel better. Do you really want to go into this block having a sizable block of us terrified about what's going to happen to us and our home values? I mean, I don't see why this is a positive.
I'm going to have to ask you to please wrap up.
All right, I'm done. I'm just asking you, could you kick it down the block a little bit and have them give us a really full-scale, transparent discussion about what's happening, open to the whole public? Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Robin Freeman.
Hi, this is Robin Freeman. Am I coming through?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Thank you. I'm the emeritus chair of the Merit College Environmental Management program, and I've been a resident of the block for 40 years, my wife and I, and brought up our family. I think the concept is a great addition to the wonderful array of greenhouse gas reduction projects that you're looking at. And I agree that this is, in a very large part, a social experiment, and that is what I want to address. So as has been said, that part has not been addressed at all. And in the addressing of social experiment, that's very time-consuming for the residents. So all the people on my side of the block, there's about 6 or 8 homeowners, have signed the petition that they do not want to be involved at this point. So the big issue is that it's a homeowners association. They're called Eco Block Collective. And I would suggest finding a block that is less divided and interested and applies, wishes to be involved, and begin with a low-hanging fruit and test it out that way. And perhaps that Santa Fe neighborhood block, it would work. And I would also suggest that the neighbors need to be compensated for their time as guinea pigs, and not just for the initial meetings, but they need to be compensated for all the meetings. And also, my low-income neighbors won't have the time to be involved. Otherwise, it's an expense, and as it is for all of us and me. And that also what happens in the 5 to 10 years following implementation, they need to be compensated for having, dealing with the maintenance issues and all the things that will come up with a micro utility. And I think those are my comments primarily. Thanks very much.
Thank you. I have Tim Lilly.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for the opportunity. I am a resident on the block for about 15 years, homeowner, and I'm very interested in the project. I think it's very exciting, and I think we can be a model for potential environmental awareness, and what could be a great model for cities. I think yes. Just to address the concerns, thank you, Mary. Thank you, Robin, for your input. Thank you, Mary, for being, open-minded and potentially open to considering the project. I know you guys felt like there's been a lack of information, and I agree. I think more information would be great. I just wanted to let Robin know that I am on his side of the block, and I am a homeowner, and I am in favor of at least going forward with the project to the next phase. So it's not completely true that all the homeowners on his side of the block are against it. I think just people don't have the information, and unfortunately, some people have refused outreach. There has been multiple attempted outreach to folks who are claiming there's been no information, but they've been sort of aggressive in their not wanting to be approached. So, we've respected that, but, there has been maybe a little more information coming out than some folks know about. But, either way, we don't want disharmony, but as everyone stated, of course, no one's going to be forced to be a part of this project. We just want to go through the next phase and take it from there, and let everyone know exactly what's happening. But if folks on the block do not want to participate, then of course that's their right. And I think that's been very clear from the start that nothing will ever happen against anyone's will at any stage. And I think it's easy to be a kind of pro-environment and pro-green on paper or ideologically, and then have a not in my backyard kind of feel about it. But I think, we're not going to know if we can do anything about all these environmental challenges if we don't get innovative and experimental and try some stuff out. And this seems like something that would be beneficial to, urban environments, which is where, huge amounts of greenhouse gases and environmental issues are created. So, I just wanted to express my appreciation for the ideas of the project, and I would like to take it to the next level in appreciation of the California Energy Commission's grant. And I think we should definitely move on, and if anything, we should maybe speed the process up rather than slow it down, because it's taken a long time to get to this point, and we want everyone's input and everyone to participate willingly.
Mr. Lilly, I'm going to have to ask you to wrap up, please.
Sure. And we just want everyone to feel good about the project, but I don't see delaying it for those willing participants. It should be on the table. If people don't want to participate, then that's just fine. But the willing participants should be able to move forward ASAP. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I have David Rose, please.
David Rose. I own a property in the Eco Block. I'm 100% in favor of it. I have a MBA with a focus on sustainability, and I feel that, I'm aware of all of the statistics about the energy consumption and the effect on greenhouse gases that homes have, that our built environment has. And I think having this little block in Oakland be an example to the whole world is really a amazing opportunity that, notwithstanding people's fears and concerns, which I think can all be addressed, this is going to put us on the forefront of the map of sustainability and how places do things. And I think it will be a boon to the environment, to the state of California, to the city of Oakland, and for all of us as property owners. I mean, have a tremendous positive impact on the value of our homes. So I'm 100% in support of it. I know that there's going to be some things that don't work for everybody 100% of the time, but I think the positive nature of this project and the ambitious nature of this project far and away outweigh the concerns that people have, and particularly their concerns that can be sorted out through communication and discussion and getting to know our neighbors. And I think that's sort of one of the things that's lacking in the world today is a sense of community. And I think this is a way that will create a stronger and more resilient community. That's the end of my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any other indication of additional comments on the phone. Are there any other comments on the phone? Okay, so. Okay, I'm seeing no additional comments on the phone. We will turn to commissioner comments. I do just want to say a couple of things. One is that this is part of the EPIC challenge, which I know that James mentioned in his presentation, where the first round was planning grants that went out to about 13 different groups around the state. And then the second round of this is implementing. People had a chance to, the folks who won the planning grants had a chance to compete for implementation dollars. And so that is why there's been kind of a lag between planning and implementation. But I also want to, I think that's a good note to ourselves here at the Energy Commission for the other projects that are going to be coming down, to make sure we have a closer tie between kind of part one where we were planning, and part two, the implementation of this. As you all know, I'm the public member on the Energy Commission, and transparency, good communication, making sure the community really understands what is happening here is paramount. That has to get done. This project will. It doesn't need participation from everybody to be a successful project, but people do need to understand what's taking place, why it's taking place. The point is to bring communities along, and as one of the commenters said, have these communities out in the forefront and be, I think, to kind of be excited and pleased and proud to be out on the forefront, even if they didn't want to participate in the project. So really making sure that the neighbors understand what's happening, why it's happening, they do or don't have to participate, having an opt-in or an opt-out, all of those components are really important. And maybe, James, you can address how that is going to take place within this proposed project.
Sure, this is James Friedrich again with the Energy Commission. First, I'd like to acknowledge that, again, staff hear the concerns of the community and want people to know that their voices are heard. We think it's a good idea to let folks know that the approval of this grant doesn't mean the trucks are out tomorrow in front of their homes. There's a lot of planning still to be done and community engagement still to be done. And, we support, bringing the community together for full transparency for everybody to understand what's going to be happening here, and for people to know, again, that this is a voluntary commitment, and we will make sure to work with UC Berkeley to ensure that we maintain that for the life of the project, both the ability to voluntarily commit and voluntarily opt out. And so if Dr. Von Meyer has anything to add, I'd leave it at that.
Yes, please go ahead, and then other commissioners.
Thank you so much, and I also would like to thank the folks who've called in for their candid comments. I want to say, first of all, personally, that I really empathize with the situation of being a homeowner and having a group of people come and say, hey, we got this idea for what we're going to do in your block, but then not have, the specific details ready of what's the proposal. And I personally would feel anxious as well. So I want to acknowledge that. And I want to reemphasize that the transparency to everyone is absolutely the key here. In terms of the communication, the project team has been walking a bit of a tightrope between trying to keep everyone on the block up to date, but also respecting the express wishes from several residents and owners not to be contacted, and this was mentioned. So it's a tricky thing when you're trying to kind of have the information out there, but you want to respect people's wishes, saying, hey, don't call me. So I would say the project team has done the best that we were able to do based on what we knew then. We might do it differently if we start up fresh. And I think that we have a great basis really to move forward with the enthusiasm that's been shown from so many different people on different sides. And I really, again, want to thank the folks who've called in. I think we have a great basis for moving forward.
Other commissioner comments or questions?
I had a question. Could you just walk us through what the community engagement looks like and what a community meeting or how you're doing the outreach to the community members?
Is it on in there? Because what channel is showing it? It's not like. No, what channel is showing it? Because I can't get it here. I don't know the channel.
We need, if you are on the phone line, we can hear some of you. So maybe if you could please mute yourself on your end, and we'll also try to mute you on our end. Okay. To Commissioner Monahan's question, please.
Right, so from here on out, with the phase 2 actually funded and in progress, we would start with a comprehensive meeting with all the stakeholders involved and present the greatest detail that we're able to in terms of the proposed type of contract that they would be signing. It would be a draft. They have still opportunity to help shape that language and the specifics, but we now have an actual proposal for them to consider and help us edit. And we will also specify the different pieces that they can opt into. For example, being a member of this Eco Block cooperative doesn't mean you automatically have to agree that you're going to change out your gas cook stove for an electric induction cook stove. We're going to present you with what we believe are the benefits of these different pieces of technology, but no individual component of this would be mandatory. It would be recommended. And so part of that community outreach is to make a lot more detailed information available. One of our first action items with the project being funded to go ahead is to develop a website, one part of it being kind of public facing, and another would be a forum for the residents and owners on the block to actually exchange and access information so that they can really have all the technical details at their fingertips. And then we will refine with their input. In fact, we've already solicited the inputs from the subset of owners that had asked to stay in touch with the team, solicited their input on how we should move forward with public announcements. And out of respect for the block residents and owners, the university has refrained from making any announcements as to the notice of proposed award. You know, part of it, we're also sensitive to the privacy issue here. It's not obvious that one would want to be suddenly in the public spotlight. But so we will continue to solicit their input and have the property owners help us with the drafting of the contract language that will be favorable. It will end up being a compromise in some sense, but we will start with specific recommendations and then move forward with the explicit opt-in to different pieces, and there will be contractors ready to speak to the homeowners individually about the specifics that they want done in their house and to make that as low impact as possible.
So just as a follow-on question, you know, I heard the concern expressed about could this impact the value of houses in the neighborhood, and I'm trying to get my head around what kind of physical changes that would be visible to somebody in the street, for example, or you know, just looking at the neighborhood. You know, they certainly wouldn't notice that someone had an induction stove instead of a gas stove, for example. I imagine there might be solar panels or would be involved, but could you let us know, you know, just in terms of physical changes in the neighborhood, what might look different?
That's a really good question. Yeah, I think the solar panels are visible but not attention grabbing. I think the most noticeable change would be a row of electric vehicles parked on one side of the block with EV charging that are intended as shared vehicles that would be charged from the block DC microgrid, which means, and this is important as we look toward the possibility of many more frequent power outages on PG&E's system, we'll be able to charge even during a grid outage. So a big part of this is emergency preparedness. And it's having an island of resilience in the city where people can go to and get essential resources. So the EVs, which I will add are not entirely uncontroversial because parking is a scarce resource. So there's a balance to be found between, well, how many parking spaces do you want to take up with these EVs? So that number hasn't been defined, but I think that would be the most visible part. The, microgrid interconnection would not be obvious to anyone.
And you're not talking about signage, like welcome to the most sustainable block.
That would have to be something that the block owners, residents would have to all be enthused about. I would not in a million years put that upon them.
I do recognize the catch-22 that you have mentioned in terms of wanting to be. So what I heard is lots of people, or maybe not, lots of people are looking for additional information, but then there are also folks who have said, please don't contact me about this anymore. So that's a fine line to walk. And also without the funding that we're contemplating right now, you don't have the dollars to actually go and do the outreach that we're talking about. But I do want to stress how important it is to get that done and to outreach to the community. I like the plan that you have laid out for Commissioner Monahan and hearing additional details about what that's going to look like, being really mindful of that as you go into this project. I can't stress enough how important I think that is. I do think this is a good project. I think it's an important project. And so if there aren't any other questions, but if there are, please ask. I will ask for a motion.
I will move this item. I do want to request that you keep the Energy Commission staff very much in the loop on your outreach, and on, my hope is that you're able to build a strong level of buy-in and consensus, and you're able to reassure homeowners who really don't want involvement in this project that it is going to be, at the very least, potentially somewhat beneficial or neutral to them, and make that a reality for them. I do recognize the challenges of working in established neighborhoods, and so I'll move approval of this item with that request.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries 3-0. Thank you. All right, we will move on. We're just gonna power through because we've got about 4 or 5 more items here. So we're going to move on now to item 14, the Spatial Informatics Group, LLC, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Alex Horangic of the Energy Research and Development Division. Today, staff is requesting your approval of the grant resulting from the Wildfire Assessing and Preparing for Risk Under Climate Change Solicitation. Recent experience has shown first responders and grid managers that wildfire behavior is changing in ways that current fire risk models do not adequately handle. The solicitation intended to develop next generation wildfire risk models at both local and statewide scales to help ensure resiliency of the electric grid in the near and long terms in the face of the growing wildfire risk under climate change, and to seek specific advances in wildfire modeling regarding extreme weather and wind events, the effects of widespread tree mortality, the dynamics of vegetation and fuel with climate change, and fire behavior in the wildland-urban interface. Specifically, the recommended awardee, Spatial Informatics Group, will implement a 2-phase project, which will develop methods to optimize the location of future weather stations, improve understanding of the relationship between extreme weather conditions and wildfire through the analysis of major historical fire events, advance the science of fire behavior in areas of elevated tree mortality through laboratory experiments to develop new fuel models, and to develop computationally efficient wildfire scenario models at differing temporal and spatial scales to improve decision support about electricity assets. If successful, this agreement will inform energy policy and decisions by providing actionable information for grid management for investor-owned utilities and support California's 5th climate change assessment. Staff recommends approval of this agreement, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. I would also like to introduce Dave Sapsis from CAL FIRE. He's graciously come to make comments in support of this recommended agreement.
Thank you. Dave.
Good afternoon. Thanks for the opportunity. Dave Sapsis with CAL FIRE's Fire and Resource Assessment Program. By way of context, our program's been involved with fire safety rulemaking in the Utility Commission for over a decade now. Following some utility-ignited fires that were catastrophic in 2007, we got involved to provide technical and scientific support to the Commission for enhanced regulatory actions to promote fire safety. That culminated in a decision for enhanced regulations and a high fire threat district map associated with high-risk areas from utility wildfires that was adopted in late 2017, early 2018. Over the course of that work, we highlighted a number of the unique, complex vulnerabilities associated with the utility grid, highlighted some issues of data gaps and modeling shortcomings, as well as, to be frank with you, some of the fundamental uncertainties associated with environmental conditions that impact wildfire risk. So when we were asked to provide some technical comment to the proposals in this solicitation, we were very, very welcome and felt we were pretty well served. So really, just to cut to the chase, really, I think without boring you with some, gory and geeky kinds of details about, extreme value statistics and atmospheric wildfire coupling, the department is really wholesale in support of this solicitation going to Spatial Informatics Group. They've compiled a very comprehensive work plan and a really all-star team to conduct this really dynamic and needful cutting-edge research. And just to finish up, the department would really welcome an advisory capacity as the program of work is carried out. With that, I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Do I have any other public comment in the room? I don't have any blue cards. Okay, any comment on the phone? Let's turn then, and thank you for being here, to commissioner discussion. I think that this is an incredibly important piece of research. I probably don't need to tell that to either of you. Just after the horrific and catastrophic wildfires that we have had in the state recently, getting these updated wildfire models, advancing our understanding of fire science, it's just, I can't even express how important that is. And so if you do not have questions, I will ask for a motion on item 14.
Move approval.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The item passes 3-0. All right, next is item 15, which is bringing rapid innovation development to green energy bridge, energy storage, GFO 18304.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair and Commissioners. My name is Qing Tian. I'm with the Energy Research and Development Division. And today we'd like to ask for your approval for 3 new agreements. These new agreements are the outcome from a solicitation for technology demonstration and deployment of energy storage project. To be qualified for funding, the proposed technology must be from previously funded Energy Commission or federal agency project. The goal is to allow researchers to continue the development work without losing momentum to fundraise. Another requirement for this solicitation is that the project must demonstrate alternative energy storage technologies to lithium-ion batteries and will represent a scale up of 25% or higher in power or energy from the previously awarded project. This solicitation will help support state energy goals on energy storage system and also help diversify our research portfolio by promoting alternative energy storage technologies such as flow battery, and thermal storage, and flywheels. So in the first agreement with Natron Energy, the recipient will demonstrate the sodium-ion battery system at an electrical fast charging station at UC San Diego. This project will help size the battery system and also develop business cases to enable economic development of high-power EV fast charging infrastructure and increase electric vehicle adoption. The proposed technology is non-flammable and safe. This will allow the technology to be deployed at the sites prone to fire risk. The same technology can also be further scaled to support other grid applications as a stationary energy storage system. The second agreement is with EOS Energy Storage. The recipient will demonstrate a plug-and-play zinc hybrid battery technology at SDGE demonstration facility located in Pala, California. This project will achieve improved power and energy density and enable full characterization of performance in high value applications, including peak shaving, load following, and frequency regulation. This project will also model economic benefits for energy storage system, including conducting a cost-benefit analysis for IOU ratepayers. EOS is working to achieve a battery system with less than $100 per kilowatt hour in manufacturing cost, which, if successful, will make it one of the most cost-effective battery technology on the market. The third agreement is with Element 16 Technologies. In this project, the recipient will demonstrate a sulfur thermal battery technology for stationary energy storage and power generation. The demonstration will expand on previous applications of thermal storage devices by converting stored thermal energy to electricity through a real-time field testing and demonstration. If successful, this new agreement will lead to greater reliability, a reduction in greenhouse gas emission, and better system resilience, and also improved public safety by promoting alternative energy storage technologies that are non-flammable and safe. With that, staff like to recommend approval of these 3 new agreements. And thank you very much for your time and attention.
Thank you. I don't have any blue cards. Do we have any public comment in the room? Public comment on the phone? Okay, seeing none. Let's turn to commissioner discussion. This is another, I think, great and interesting set of projects. If you remember the innovation pipeline, there was the first part, and then bridges in the middle, and then ramp is on the other end. So this is kind of the set of projects in the middle, again, kind of smartly and deliberately designed to hit different parts of that innovation pipeline. The other thing that I think is intriguing about these projects is we're trying to diversify the types of battery storage that we have within the state, and these all kind of hit on that area. So I highly recommend those to you. Do you have questions or comments?
I'll move approval of this item.
Can I make a quick comment?
Yes.
I'll be fast. I know people are hungry. I also think it's really interesting how we're bridging storage and transportation electrification with some of these investments. And this idea that, that Vice Chair Scott talked about, this full cycle of clean energy, where we want to have our electricity system together with our transportation system moving towards a complete zero emission mobility and electricity for the future. So these are just really a great set of investments to move us along that direction. I do second, heartily.
All right.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, this passes 3-0. Let us now move on to item number 16, the National Renewable Energy Laboratory.
Okay, so good morning, Vice Chair Scott and Commissioners. My name is Peter Chen, and I'm with the Energy Research and Development Division. Today, I am requesting your approval for an agreement with the U.S. Department of Energy to be undertaken at its National Renewable Energy Laboratory to conduct research that advances the state of medium and heavy-duty natural gas vehicle technology. The transportation sector is the largest source of greenhouse gas emissions in the state, and heavy-duty diesel trucks are the largest source of NOx emissions, or nitrogen oxide emissions, in California's air districts in non-attainment for ozone and particulate matter. Low NOx emission natural gas engines are commercially available today and are regularly combined with renewable natural gas to reduce both greenhouse gas emissions and NOx emissions. However, there are still technology gaps that limit widespread adoption. For example, the largest low NOx natural gas engine currently available today is not sized to meet the needs of most long-haul trucking. Current natural gas engine, vehicle, and infrastructure technologies also have room for efficiency and cost improvements to better compete with diesel. This agreement supports 4 competitively selected subcontractors as part of a larger research consortium with co-funding from the U.S. Department of Energy and the South Coast Air Quality Management District to develop technologies that can help address these gaps. The first subcontractor is Cummins Inc. They'll develop a next-generation natural gas engine with improved efficiency, low NOx emissions, and lower system costs compared to current commercially available engines. The engine will be sized to meet the needs of long-haul trucks. The second subcontractor is US Hybrid. They'll demonstrate plug-in hybrid electric drayage trucks using downsized natural gas engines at the San Pedro Bay ports. The project involves iterative design optimization using chassis dynamometer testing to balance emissions and efficiency benefits of the hybrid powertrain specifically for a typical drayage operation. The third subcontractor is Transient Plasma Systems. They'll develop a production-ready prototype of an advanced ignition system that can help improve durability and enable natural gas engines to operate at higher pressures and dilution to achieve higher efficiencies as well as lower emissions. The fourth subcontractor is Gas Technology Institute. They'll demonstrate a smart compressed natural gas fueling station that uses a low-cost pre-cooler combined with sensors and vehicle dispenser communications to help achieve consistent full fills of compressed natural gas vehicles. This can lead to expanded vehicle operating ranges as well as lower fuel system costs related to oversizing tank capacity to compensate for underfills. If successful, this agreement will lead to reductions in greenhouse gas emissions and NOx emissions from medium and heavy-duty vehicles, as well as reductions in total cost of ownership of natural gas vehicles. I recommend approval of this agreement, and I'm happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you. I don't have any blue cards. Any public comment in the room? All right, any public comment on the phone? Okay, I will just on this one note how much I appreciate the good work of the staff here and the partnership that we have with the U.S. Department of Energy, the South Coast Air Quality Management District, and INREL on this. This is another one where the sum of the parts will be greater than the whole because there's a series of more than these 4 projects that will also be able to get information and they'll also be able to learn from our projects as well. Are there other questions or comments?
No, I think this looks great, and I'll move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. The motion carries 3-0. Let us now go on to item number 17, Advancing Natural Gas Energy Efficiency Research in Existing Buildings and Baking Industry, GFO 18-503. But before you start the presentation, we have a disclosure.
Right. So, I have actually just concluded a renewable energy law class that I've been teaching at UC Davis King Hall. And so I wanted to disclose that. King Hall is not the entity involved in this contract, but in item 17C, UC Davis is the prime for the contract. Thank you.
Very good. Good afternoon, Vice Chair Scott, Commissioners. My name is Amir Ehyai with the Energy Efficiency Research Office. GFO 18503 sought projects to advance natural gas energy efficiency research in existing buildings and bakeries. The funding opportunity focused on 4 areas of research, covering bakeries, room heaters, hot water distribution systems, and advancing building insulation. Staff requests approval of 3 projects aimed at reducing natural gas use and heating existing homes. Applications for a bakery project and a hot water distribution project were evaluated but are not recommended for funding. The first project for your consideration is with the Institute of Gas Technology to improve the performance of atmospherically vented wall furnaces. This project develops and demonstrates 2 retrofit solutions for existing multifamily and single-family homes. The first solution is a self-powered drop-in replacement for gravity wall furnaces, offering improved efficiency up to 80% versus the existing 63%. This retrofit eliminates the standing pilot light without the need to run electrical service to the heater. The estimated payback on the incremental cost is 2 years. The other retrofit is a direct vent solution that draws combustion air from the outside instead of the conditioned space. Efficiencies greater than 90% may be possible. This project overcomes barriers to implementing direct vent technologies by developing training and installation packages to reduce install costs and promote this higher efficiency option. The second project, with Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, will conduct a comprehensive market assessment of direct gas heating equipment in California. A large fraction of room heaters in California are installed in low-income, priority population communities. This project will provide information on the existing stock and the households where they are installed, perform lab and field evaluations, and inform policies and programs regarding the energy, economic, environmental, and health implications of these heaters. And the last project with UC Davis will develop and test a novel insulation solution for existing homes with little or no wall insulation. The retrofit solution uses an aerosol-based sealant to seal wall cavities to reduce air leakage, and then adds blown-in insulation with phase change material enhancements to reduce heat transfer through the wall assembly. Phase change materials increase a building's thermal capacity by storing and releasing thermal energy at specific temperatures. The research will develop and test phase change material enhanced insulation optimized for various California climate zones. The project goal is to show sufficient natural gas and electricity savings to recover the cost within 10 years. Staff requests your approval of these projects, but first, Teresa Piscicini from UC Davis is here and would like to say a few words on her project, and as well, Rob Comiskey of Gas Technology Institute is here and available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Please come on up.
Hi, I'm Teresa Piscicini from UC Davis, the PI of the Retrofit Insulation Solution Grant. And I just wanted to say thank you for considering the award. The research team is led by UC Davis, and also TRC is our research partner, and we have tremendous support from the industry in developing this package, including insulation manufacturer Owens Corning, phase change manufacturer Install Corp, aerosol sealing manufacturer AeroSeal, and thermostat manufacturer Ecobee, which is going to provide data on user set points in 50,000 California homes, and also the support of SoCal Gas. So we're really excited about the team and what we plan to accomplish. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment in the room? Any public comment on the phone? All right, commissioner discussion. I'll just note this is another nice set of projects. Figuring out how to stay on the cutting edge of efficiency in existing buildings, I think, is important as we go on. I wish I could channel Commissioner McAllister here for this, but that's all I'll add to Amir's presentation. Any questions or comments?
No, I think you captured it, and I move approval of this item.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
So item 17 passes 3-0. Thank you. We will now move on to item number 18. Let me just check. I don't think Mr. Euler is here in the room. Is he on the phone? Do you know? Okay. So for agenda number 18, item number 18, which is a petition to request rulemaking hearings, the Commission will now consider and act to approve or deny the petition submitted by Steve Euler, requesting that the Commission initiate rulemaking hearings implementing Public Utilities Code Section 399.30, Subdivision C4. So now I will ask the public advisor whether Mr. Euler has asked her to relate any of his points to the Commissioners in his absence.
Good afternoon. This is Jennifer Martin Gallardo, and I have not received any comments from Mr. Euler.
Okay. All right. So because Mr. Euler's petition and related documents were submitted to the docket and made available to the Commissioners in advance of today's meeting, we will deem his arguments as submitted on the papers, but not read them aloud. So now let's hear from staff in response to Mr. Euler's petition. Would you please introduce yourselves for the record?
Good morning, Vice Chair and Commissioners. I'm Natalie Lee, the Deputy Director of the Renewable Energy Division. I'm here to discuss staff's recommendation regarding the petition. I'm also joined by Jared Babula from the Chief Counsel's Office.
Thank you. Yes, this is Jared Babula from the Chief Counsel's Office. And we'll have a short response, and then we can respond to any questions you may have.
So again, Natalie Lee. The petitioner has requested that the Energy Commission initiate a rulemaking hearing to implement a specific statutory provision, Public Utilities Code Section 39930C4. Staff recommend that the Commission deny the petition because staff have already initiated pre-rulemaking activities to update the enforcement procedures for the Renewables Portfolio Standard for local publicly owned utilities, more commonly known as the RPS POU regulations. This update will address a broad range of statutory provisions, including the ones specifically referenced in the petitioner's request. Staff have posted a public notice of a first public workshop regarding these amendments that will be held July 17th, 2019. During this workshop, the public will have opportunity to comment on staff's proposal for amendments. We intend to open formal rulemaking later this year and anticipate bringing a set of regulations to this commission for consideration of adoption by late 2020. Based on the fact that staff activities have already started for a broad range of updates, including the ones specifically referenced, again, we do recommend denial of this petition.
And I would just like to add, we attached a proposed order to the a memo that staff have filed in response to the petition, and so the motion that you could be voting on would be to deny the petition for a rulemaking and adopt staff's proposed order. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any members of the public in the room who have comment? Okay, do we have any members of the public on the phone? Seeing none, we will now turn to commissioner discussion.
Well, as the new lead for renewables, I am very well aware of the upcoming RPS proceeding, rulemaking, and I think that it's correct that the issues raised by Mr. Euler can be addressed and should be addressed there. So just checking in to see if there's any other comments. I'll go ahead and move to deny the petition and adopt the draft order.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Next, let's go on to the minutes. May I get a motion?
Move the minutes.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The minutes pass 3-0. Let us now go on to lead commissioner reports.
Sure. I have one thing to report, and I'll keep it brief, but the chair would probably wonder if I didn't report on this one. We had a very nice meeting in Imperial County on back in May 22nd, pulling together a lithium recovery initiative meeting with a number of people involved from Imperial County and local stakeholders and developers who are looking for, and researchers who are looking for opportunities to better, to find a way of economically extracting lithium from salt and sea brines, and doing that as part of the process at geothermal plants. And this is an area where the Energy Commission has made some grants, and where we are seeing results. There's no question that our clean energy policies and clean transportation policies are driving at this moment, with the market where it is, a need for lithium, and lithium is a major component of batteries today. And, you know, both certainly on the transportation side, and also right now one of the technologies being used for other kinds of energy storage as well. So it's a really interesting opportunity to capitalize on this resource right here in California, in an area that really needs the potential economic activity and jobs and development that could come with this. And I will just add, as somebody who has spent a lot of time on environmental and natural resource issues, this is an exceptionally sustainable approach, because really the footprint of these facilities is really just like a geothermal power plant, and then there's an additional facility that's about that size that would be involved in processing the brine before it could be, the minerals could be extracted and it could be re-injected back into the geothermal field. So it's a very, very interesting technology. I'm very interested, as is the chair, in looking for ways to move it forward. And I think that meeting was a really nice check-in with some key people who will, I hope, be some of the movers and shakers in order to make some of this happen. So to be continued on that one, but I did want to report out on that. I think that's my only report today.
Thank you, Commissioner Douglas. Commissioner Monahan?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the Clean Transportation Program and the investment plan, and just get you guys up to speed on what we've been thinking about and with the team, and get your input. So as Vice Chair Scott well knows, there is a draft plan, and for the formerly ARFVTP, now Clean Transportation Program, and we have been, really conscientious of the fact, as I'm sure you all agree, that we need to be very attentive to equity as we move forward with our investments. And we need to make sure that we're getting input from interests in California that can help sort of broaden our perspective on what it means to make investments attentive to equity. So we reached out to the Disadvantaged Communities Advisory Committee and asked them to whether they would help us. And they are, this was not part of their normal cycle. They're informing us. They've been very helpful, I think, at the CPUC. And so a subgroup of members from the DACAG are going to be coming here tomorrow or over the phone tomorrow and talking with us. We're just like starting a conversation on this, and I feel like we are, the team at the Fuels and Transportation Division are really wanting to be open to this new process, and we're going through a little bit of uncharted territory, and we all realize like this is something we must do, and it's a learning process for all of us. So I just wanted to let you guys know, get any thoughts that you have about how we should be thinking about this, and your suggestions are welcome.
Well, just at a high level, I'll say that that's a great way of tapping into the willingness of the committee members to help us, think through equity issues. And with regard to many different programs, it was really nice to see the item with the Black Chamber of Commerce earlier today, because that was a nice example of a kind of project that can really help us come up with new and effective strategies for engaging a much broader section of communities in the Central Valley, for example. So, that kind of creative thinking is great.
Yeah, I would add, I think getting some additional outreach on the draft investment plan would be great. It has gone through its usual open and transparent cycle where lots of people have had the opportunity to weigh in and comment and let us know what they think. It has, there are several members from the environmental justice community or representative of it at on the advisory committee for the ARF-ETP investment plan, or the Clean Transportation Program. So I think that you will see that voice reflected in there, and also in the types of grants that we give out, the way we're targeting different communities with the program to make sure that they are included. But I think the additional outreach and information and data from people who want to help inform how the commission does its work is really great. So I'm glad that you will be having that meeting, and I look forward to hearing what the input is that you receive.
Thank you.
Thanks
So
for thinking of that. Yeah,
we're looking forward to it as well. So.
That'll be
Thank
awesome.
you.
It'll be great to have them together for that. I must admit, I was so excited to get to chair a business meeting. I didn't go through my calendar to put together the list of things that I have been up to, and so I won't. That's all I'll say on that item. Let me see if now the executive director has a report for us.
Really quick report. Just wanted to say last week we had our annual staff awards ceremony, and it was really a great opportunity to acknowledge all the great work that the 600 plus folks in the building and our satellite office down the street do, and to highlight the really great achievements last calendar year of a select number of them. So thank you.
Well, I'll echo your congratulations and warm acknowledgement of all of our terrific staff and the great work that they carry out on behalf of the people of California every day. It's awesome. Public advisors report, please.
Hi, I have no formal report today.
Okay. We will now turn to public comment. Is there any public comment in the room on any thing that we didn't talk about today? Any public comment on the phone? Okay, with that, what I'd like to do is we're not adjourning yet. We did want to adjourn in memoriam for Ron Nichols. I'd like to say what we were going to say, and then we'll turn to the Chief Counsel's report and go into closed session, and then when we come back, we'll just adjourn. That way people don't have to sit. And what I really wanted to read to you all was the message that we received from Pedro and Kevin at SCE. I tried to think of other wonderful words to say about Ron, but they really captured it quite well, and so I'm going to read to you from that letter. And it went to the Edison team. It is with profound sadness that we report the death of Southern California Edison President Ron Nichols on Thursday, June 6th. As you know, Ron waged a courageous battle with gastric cancer for the past few months. Ron was a passionate leader of the organization, a valued member of the senior management team, and a trusted friend, confidant, and counselor, as evidenced by the countless well wishes you've sent his way since his cancer diagnosis. He was a role model for all of us, and when we say how we do our jobs is as important as what we do. He brought his best self every day. Ron was a tireless champion for the development of clean energy, particularly for programs that benefited customers in environmentally impacted communities. He firmly believed that the transition to a clean energy economy should be a just transition in which all customers could benefit. Ron had more than 35 years of experience in the electric and water utility industry. He was a strategic and operational advisor to utilities, state and local government, power suppliers, and the financial community on complex energy and utility matters throughout the United States, and particularly in the West. We have lost a true leader. And our heartfelt sympathy, as well as the team there, goes out to our colleagues at SCE, to Ron's wife, to Cheryl, and their entire family. He will truly be missed. He was so warm and wonderful, and also just very thoughtful and a tireless leader in this space. So we wanted to acknowledge him and just say something in memory of him. Okay. Let us turn now to the Chief Counsel's report.
So thank you. In just a minute, you'll be announcing that we're going to go into closed session. But before then, I'd just like your indulgence to continue with the Chief Counsel's Office tradition, which is to put names with faces when we have the privilege of having law school interns in our office. And I do have two to introduce to you today, just very briefly. I have Claire Christensen. She attends the UC Berkeley Law School. And we have Alex McInturf, who attends UC Hastings. They've been in some of the meetings, I think, with some of you already. You might not have known who they are. They'll be with us for the remainder of the summer, and we're just very, very pleased to have them in our office.
Welcome to both of you. Glad to have you. Okay, so the commission will now go into closed session as specified in agenda item 24A1X or IX, which provides notice that the commission will adjourn to closed session with its legal counsel pursuant to Government Code Section 11126E to discuss the following litigation to which the Energy Commission is a party. State Energy Resources Conservation and Development Commission versus Hygen Industries, Inc. We anticipate returning to open session at about 1:30, so we'll see you then. Okay, everyone, we are back on the record, and the meeting is now adjourned.